doing, pal?
I'm good, man.
Everything good over there?
Everything's good right here.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good stuff to get to this morning.
It wasn't my cocaine.
No, it was not. So, Cubby number 50 does not belong to Greg Stocker. Does Cubby 50 belong to you, Dawn Stensland? Where were you on July 2nd or thereabout?
I was in Ocean City, New Jersey, I believe.
Do you have anybody that can corroborate and validate your whereabouts?
Oh,
Just curious.
my dog, he'll say,
Buddy.
oh, it was not hers.
That's right.
I love that they can figure out everything. They track us every which way till Sunday.
Yep.
And with this, they're like, well,
Yep.
can't find whose cocaine this is.
They can find and arrest a guy 5 years later for posting memes about Hillary Clinton, yet they can't find the guy who left a little baggie in a locker. Or a gal, for that matter. Could have been a big party, but we have no evidence. Well, the cameras, they just don't face the lockers. All right.
I mean, it's such a great point, right? Because that guy was posted under the pseudonym Ricky Vaughn.
Ricky Vaughn.
Which every major league movie fan knows exactly who that is. It's Charlie Sheen's character.
That is correct.
In Major League.
So we will get to that in the Big Take this morning because the Big Take is about the First Amendment, Mr. Vaughn, so to speak, and Tucker Carlson. We also have to get to a couple of interesting stories, one including the Wall Street Journal as Joe Biden is losing the black voter and why it really does matter. We'll get to cocaine. We've got an electoral college poll to get to. And also, in the world of absurdity, California suspends an 8th grade football player for what they thought was blackface. Turned out to just be eye black that football players wear on their face to keep the sun out of their eyes. But that's California. California gonna do
Unbelievable.
California things.
I have some in my minivan because,
Yeah.
Saturday's game, they were like, hey, does anybody have any eye black?
That's
Because,
correct.
everybody has it.
Uh-huh.
So
I do have a question about this, though. Well,
Crazy world.
We'll get into it when we get into it. But he seemed to have it on a lot of his face, which it seems unusual for me.
Some people nowadays, they put like their entire face in it. They just look like they're going to battle, like they're trying to invade a foreign nation. It's really odd, but we will get to that. And also in California, not once but twice, Gavin Newsom, presumably, as many people are interpreting, says the quiet part out loud. So we'll get to that this morning. And Joe Biden's making all sorts of gaffes his way. Cut sheet's going to be loaded. It's going to be a good show today. 6:05, let's get to the news, round number 1. And for that, the great Dawn Stensland.
so much going on this Tuesday morning, November the 14th. And we are sponsored this morning by Piazza Auto Group on another chilly, brisk morning with a breezy day in store. So I'll tell you how warm it'll get in the full forecast coming right up. So let's talk about what's going on this Tuesday as we're sponsored by Piazza Auto Group. Let's take you to Euclid Township. Everything's clear now if you're just heading out of the house, but a car who police say was trying to escape from them ended up crashing into a tractor trailer, seriously injuring 5 people in Chester County. So this whole thing unfolded on Route 100 about 11 o'clock last night, and then the scene obviously was shut down overnight. It was right near the Wawa at the intersection of Pottstown Pike and Gordon Drive in Euclid Township, Pennsylvania. So 5 people were trapped in that crash after a Kia rear-ended a tractor trailer along the roadway, and then the front of the car was smashed in, and the roof was actually peeled back. It's quite a scene if you've seen any of the wreckage video, but rescue crews had to extricate all of those individuals out of the Kia. They were pinned inside the vehicle. One witness who was speaking to some of the broadcast media said it was unbelievable hearing the police sirens, seeing the car, squealing tires going really fast. Then they hear this huge bang and a pop and see this whole scene, unfolding in front of them. All 5 victims transported to Paoli Hospital, where they are right now with serious injuries. This whole thing is under investigation, but quite an effort overnight to get them out of the vehicle. And the question is, why were they evading police, that sort of thing? Mm-hmm. So we'll get to the bottom of it for sure.
No reports confirmed, though, of like a carjacking?
Well, I know that you often have. What have you said about, wasn't Kia one of your top?
Hyundai and Kia are like the cars that are always jacked.
So we got to, figure out, but I guess maybe, I mean, I don't know, Nick.
Okay.
I know that it was shut down for many hours overnight, and they were glad that it was reopened this morning. But what was going on that police were chasing the vehicle?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question here. So we want to get to the bottom of that one, right?
Yep.
And many jurisdictions, by obviously out, if you're familiar with Euclid Township jurisdiction, there were others such as West Whiteland Township Police. I don't know if state police were called in on that one. It took a lot of jurisdictions to get those folks out of there and essentially save their lives, rush them to the hospital. So we do have this report in Philadelphia of a 1-year in South Jersey, 1-year-old little boy reported missing. And if you saw this alert yesterday, the good news is that according to authorities, the little boy is back with his family.
Oh, good.
So that's the good news. Reported missing in South Jersey, found safe last night in Philadelphia. So U.S. Marshal Service assisting in finding the baby. But the toddler, identified as Hakeem Hinson, was reported missing over the weekend in Vineland, New Jersey, and accused in this whole thing, and who they're still searching for this morning, the babysitter. 16-year-old Akira Johns, accused of taking the little boy. She's now facing kidnapping charges, and she's still on the run at this time. So we don't know the motivation here. We only know that she was babysitting and apparently took off, according to authorities. They became concerned, reported this. Family and friends in Philadelphia said the babysitter learned that they were looking for her and left the baby off with her family and friends. So the little boy's okay. We don't know the situation. It's just, this is a weird one.
Yeah, I've never had to actually use a babysitter that wasn't a friend or a family member. But I got to imagine, like, when you go outside of that little circle and you bring in a babysitter, you got to do a really good job of vetting these people.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
And especially in this day and age with, I don't know, mental health situations. The family had said she was a nice babysitter.
Yep.
I don't know that, to your point, she was not a regular.
Right.
So maybe that's a yellow flag to all of us, Nick. Hey, Pennsylvania's Attorney General announcing new charges against a familiar name that we said pretty much for every day for weeks, Danilo Cavalcante. Remember him?
How could I forget him?
The convicted killer, Chester County, and by the way, here in this country illegally, but who led police on that 2-week-long manhunt after escaping from the Chester County prison in late summer. So he was already sentenced to serve life in prison for murdering a Chester County woman in front of her children, a brutal killing, stabbing. Well, now he's being charged, according to the Attorney General, facing dozens of new charges for, putting police through that, burglary, stealing a gun, all those charges.
Okay.
The only one I didn't see was, remember, he stole from the fruit stand?
Yes.
They've got him on burglary. Not for nothing, but throw in the watermelon.
Absolutely. Hit it with everything. This guy shouldn't have been out in the first place.
Just a headline for you that there is a protest there is a support march in D.C. Many people from our region are heading to D.C. this morning, as tens of thousands of people are expected in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, to march in support of Israel. And their group is called Philly Stands with Israel.
Oh, so we do have supporters of
Yes.
Israel. Okay, I thought we would just have more pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas supporters. Nice to see it's balancing out a little bit.
Yeah,
here.
so they're headed to D.C. this chilly morning to just try to, many of them families, entire families, and just trying to show their support. Another headline, and this is 1 week after last night's election. This is Central Bucks School Board expected to consider the resignation of its superintendent, who was widely supported, as you know, by those who were basically booted out of office. And this is Abraham Lukabaugh. So this is a shame. But ultimately, it looks like because they have a change of the guard, they want his resignation.
Yep.
And they are putting out there, they are considering his resignation. So in that, he would receive a proposed 6-figure severance package because he had signed a new contract.
Oh. So he's also going to be paid to go home and not work.
So yes,
well, everybody getting fired and still getting paid. I got to find a deal like that.
So there's that one going on. So we'll watch this one. Obviously, the Democrats don't take control until next month, which means the Republican-controlled board would vote on his leave. So the question is, have the writing's on the wall? Are they trying to give him a pathway out?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on here?
Okay.
So we're following it as we follow everything in the morning. Let's talk about, speaking of which, let's talk about our NBC 10 first alert forecast this morning. It's a chilly one. I even heard of some snow squalls in some areas being reported this morning, maybe out toward the Lehigh Valley.
But it always starts in the Lehigh Valley.
It's beginning to feel so. We love the music on our sister station, and it's that time of year when you're starting to think about the holiday season. 41 degrees, clear skies. With this brisk wind, it feels like 36 degrees. So we're seeing this pattern where, we're heating up again to 52 degrees, and we'll see the bright sunshine. Overnight, though, we're in, it's 29, 30-ish degrees, so quite chilly. Today we'll start a warm-up, though. 54 today, 55 for your tomorrow, 63 for Thursday, 68 degrees by Friday. I don't know, Nick Kayal. I think it's your last chance.
Last hurrah, Dawn.
So 68 degrees for your Friday. Then we dip back down Saturday and Sunday. We're down to mid-50s, but still sunny skies. Friday at 68, there is a slight chance some showers may move through. It does not look like it's a washout, but still, 68's going to feel fine.
Yes.
We are speaking of fine, we are sponsored by Piazza Auto Group. Shop the entire Mazda crossover and SUVs lineup. Piazza Mazda of Westchester and Reading, the 2023 Mazda CX-5, CX-9, CX-30, and CX-50, all available for immediate delivery. Find yours at piazzamazda.com. Thank you, Piazza Auto Group, for sponsoring Kayal & Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 6:14 on this Tuesday morning as we get ready for another Big Take.
The Big Take on Kayal & Company.
All right, the Big Take this morning, one is done. And when it comes to television host and provocateur Tucker Carlson, I have long said on this show that he is hit or miss with me. Some of his monologues absolutely incredibly brilliant, and I agree with the opinion. Other monologues that I think are sometimes so far-fetched and absurd, I have to question his authenticity, as I find myself not only disagreeing with his opinion, but wondering if he even believes what he just said. Either way, superbly talented and an incredibly weird individual at the same time. Prior to him joining Donald Trump and Kid Rock at Madison Square Garden for a UFC pay-per-view on Saturday night, he dropped episode 38 of Tucker on Twitter, and it's all about the First Amendment, free speech. And over the course of 13 and a half months of doing this show, I've probably done 10 or 12 big takes on the protection of free speech, the violation of your First Amendment rights, the silencing, censoring, and suppression of your voices, and the cancel culture that comes along with it as punishment. So when Tucker Carlson says the First Amendment is done, and that's the title of episode 38, it naturally grabbed my attention. And we have seen the levels to which the government will go to control the narrative and make the message a one-way street. It's our way or the highway. What we say goes. What the mainstream media tells you is fact. It's gospel, ironclad, rock solid. There's no room for debate, discourse, or discussion. The establishment and legacy media embed together, and they want it that way. Our institutions want it that way because it's always been that way. It's why they want Donald Trump behind bars. It's why they've rejected RFK Jr. They have a monopoly on the marketplace of ideas and information, and they are hell-bent on keeping it that way. But just about a month ago, on October 18th, a man named Douglas Mackey, who is a social media influencer, so to speak, was sentenced by United States District Judge Ann Donnelly to 7 months in prison after being convicted of election interference in the 2016 presidential race. Now, Mackey, who had approximately 58,000 followers on Twitter, engaged in a scheme with others on social media to disseminate fraudulent messages that encouraged supporters of presidential candidate at the time, Hillary Clinton, to, quote, vote via text or social media, which was legally invalid. Mackey was the guest of Tucker Carlson's episode 38 on Twitter on how the First Amendment is no longer a thing in America. But before we get to a few clips from that interview, Here is what the federal prosecutors had in their case against Mackey. They said that the ad stated, quote, the following: avoid the line, vote from home. Text Hillary to 59925 and vote for Hillary and be a part of history. The fine print at the bottom of the deceptive image stated, must be 18 or older to vote. 1 vote per person, must be a legal citizen of the United States. Voting by text not available in the following places. Paid for by Hillary for President 2016. And the tweet included the typed hashtag, I'm with her, a slogan frequently used by Hillary in 2016. So on or about before Election Day 2016, thousands of unique telephone numbers texted Hillary to some obscure number to the 59925 text number, which had been used in multiple deceptive campaign images tweeted by Mackey and his co-conspirators, so say the federal government. Several hours after tweeting the first image, Mackey tweeted an image depicting a woman sitting at a conference room typing a message on her cell phone. And this deceptive image was written in Spanish and mimicked the font used by the Clinton campaign in their authentic ads. The image also included a copy of Clinton's campaign logo and the hashtag of I'm with her. And this was the case that was laid out and investigated by the FBI. And here we are today. So let's listen to what Mackey says he did way back in 2016 as he joined Tucker Carlson. Listen and watch clip 1.
I was posting a lot of stuff on Twitter under a pseudonym about the election.
What kind of stuff?
Pro-Trump memes, jokes, all kinds of links, that kind of thing.
Why were you doing that?
Just purely out of passion.
Well, so you like Trump?
I like Trump, that's right.
Why?
I thought he was a breath of fresh air for the country. I think that his analysis of the problems with the country, with the ruling class of the country, I liked what he was saying, and I thought he had a positive vision for the country.
All right, fake name, posting things on Twitter, heading into an election, memes and links, passion, loves Trump, loves the outsider. I got it. Totally get it. Tucker then asks him about the First Amendment and his thoughts on that. Listen and watch this clip.
But you got excited about Trump and you decided to support him on social media. At the time, did you think that was your constitutional right?
Yes, absolutely.
Why'd you think that?
Well, I thought that this was America. I thought that we had a First Amendment, due process rights, that we could criticize people in our ruling class.
Nothing wrong with that point of view. I adhere to that myself. That's what we do every day here on this show. But now we get to the details in the defendant's own words. Listen and watch clip 3 with Tucker.
It looks like you thought wrong. So let's get specific about what you did, the crimes, the felonies that you committed on Twitter. I want to put this up. You posted this on Twitter. This is a meme. It says, save time, avoid the line, vote from home. And it's got a picture of Hillary Clinton. Text Hillary to this number. Did you make this meme?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't create this?
No.
Where'd it come from?
I found it on 4chan.
Okay, so it was floating around the internet.
Yeah, these kind of memes were floating all over the place.
And you posted it on Twitter. What was the point of that?
Well, pardon my French, but it was called a post.
Yeah.
We talked about this a lot at the trial. I testified. Just sort of a joke, rile up everybody, muddy the waters, and mostly just because I thought my audience would find it funny.
Did they?
Yeah, absolutely.
I find it hilarious. You're obviously from Northern New England. You have a very dry sense of humor.
Very dry.
Yeah, I noticed that.
All right, so engaging in or sharing and circulating a fake ad with a call to action is indeed fraud. Deception and fraud isn't protected with free speech against consumers. This is where Mackey, I think, got it wrong. Funny as hell. I don't have a major issue with it, but it's still not allowed. Tucker then gets to where Hillary Clinton spoke about this incident. Listen and watch the following.
So we have to, and I want to play this. This is from Hillary Clinton. This is from this April, so long after you were indicted, long after you went on trial. And this is Hillary Clinton describing that meme.
There was just a trial in Brooklyn where a guy who had been one of the main, I guess he was one of the main people running memes against me in 2016, He went from what you could consider free speech. I mean, both Nancy and I have pretty thick skins. People say all kinds of things about us. But he went from that to running a very deliberate effort to mislead people about where and how to vote. Yeah. So it went from speech to action meant to subvert the election, because thousands of people who they targeted through their algorithms, I can text my vote for Hillary Clinton.
So Hillary Clinton, I want to deconstruct that in some greater detail in a minute, but Hillary Clinton apparently took that very seriously. You were using, quote, algorithms to subvert the election with that meme.
I don't even really know what she means by that. I don't know. I guess you post something and it gets taken up into algorithms. I'm not exactly sure. I was surprised that she said that.
Did you have personal algorithms that you used?
No.
Okay.
No. It's just copy, paste, and click a button.
Yeah.
While I don't condone what Mackey has done, here is where I do have the problem. It is the two-tier justice system of misinformation that exists on the internet. And it's amazing to me how many times the left, Democrats, Clintons, Obamas, and the establishment are committing disinformation and misinformation campaigns about Republicans, about Donald Trump, Russia, the Steele dossier, and countless other smear campaigns that ultimately end up debunked, and yet they get off scot-free from their fraudulent actions. Different rules for different rules, I suppose. Finally, Tucker and Mackey get to the point where the feds come to lock him up at 7 o'clock on a weekend morning, a week after Joe Biden wins the election of 2020, almost 4.5 years later after Mackey committed these acts the prior election. Listen and watch this final clip.
When did you discover that you were considered a felon by the U.S. government?
Well, I had 8 to 10 law enforcement agents come and knock on my door at 7 a.m., 7 days after Joe Biden was inaugurated.
Did you have any warning that this was coming?
No, no warning.
So what were you doing at 7 in the morning?
I was sleeping.
So you're asleep, you hear a knock, and then what happens?
And then the FBI.
If someone had told you even...
Yes. What's going on? Like, I asked them, they said, we have a warrant for your arrest. I said, what for? For what? They didn't tell me until I got to the courthouse.
Did they cuff you?
Yes.
The FBI threw handcuffs on you at your home at 7 in the morning and didn't tell you why?
Yes.
Did you have any idea why?
No, I had no idea.
What was going through your mind?
I knew that politicians could be vindictive, and the federal government sometimes could be influenced by those politicians, and I know that they can sort of get very creative with federal statutes. So if I was the enemy of their candidate, then I thought maybe they could cook something up.
So the lesson to be learned here, well, the internet is forever. The receipts are there to be had. Republicans and Trump supporters are not given the same rope as Democrats and establishment swamp creatures and supporters of the swamp. As Donald Trump has said many times, if they can do this to me, they can do this to you. Douglas Mackey, as harmless as he probably is, found out the hard way. And all of this is a referendum against speaking up and speaking out. Jokes, memes, social media posts. It's all fun and games until the feds knock on your door at 7 a.m. years later. I'm not defending Mackey specifically. I'm just passing the warning on to those who wouldn't do what Mackey did, but those who merely engage in innocent political humor on social media. Make no mistake about it. In this day and age, they are paying attention and they are tracking each and every one of you. And I wouldn't rule anything out with today's modern weaponized government. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, big take this morning. If you want to jump in, 855-839-1210 is the phone number. On social media at 1210 WPHT. And, of course, be a part of the Kayal and Company comment community on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. Hit the like and subscribe buttons and jump in on the show. Coming up next, we'll get thoughts and reactions to that story, which I found very, very fascinating. And also for Joe Biden, You are losing the black voter to Donald Trump. A great breakdown of why it matters and how it actually hits home here locally in Philadelphia. That's next as we continue. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Apixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Rescue Natural Supplements' unprecedented Black Friday sale is back again this year. The savings are bigger and better than ever. Right now, they're slashing prices on all supplements with discounts ranging from 50 to an incredible 80% off the total cost. Rescue has a wide array of products to address your health needs, including immunity, cholesterol support, heart health, and natural energy enhancers. It's 50% off omega-3s, probiotics, and so much more. And one more thing, this Rescue Black Friday sale will run the entire month of November. So shop today at res-q.com, res-q.com, or call a Rescue Product Consultant, 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Again, all Rescue supplements are 50 to 80% off during the entire month of November. So why wait? Start shopping at res-q.com today or call 800-26-ALIVE.
You got the alert this morning. Now get the whole story. Count on NBC 10 News today.
It's more than just headlines. It's news to get you ready for your day.
If you need motivation, here we go. We've got your playbook.
The most accurate hour-by-hour weather forecasts.
Traffic info to get you there and back easier. It's all you need to get up, get ahead, and stay ahead.
Make your mornings count with NBC 10 News today. Count on it.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we have started a huge renovation. Take our already incredibly generous offers and add an additional $1,000 off all new Volvos, plus owner loyalty, plus up to $2,000 when financing or leasing with Volvo cars, plus $7,500 lease rebate on all plug-in Volvos. This is a fabulous time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo. This month's offers are incredible, and we must make space for all the construction vehicles. Visit us now.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
On your drive home, you can make the one decision that can change your day. You can choose taste. You can choose quality. You can choose Captain Chucky's Crab Cake Company. Made fresh daily. We love crabcakes.com.
Hey, Cherry Hill. We know your favorite station is WPHT. Tell your smart speaker, play 1210 WPHT.
All right, 6:32. It is Kayal and Company. Good to have all of you in here on a Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. You can watch us live on YouTube, 855-839-1210. We've got some polling numbers to look at from an electoral college standpoint coming up in a little bit. Very interesting. And also, you're going to want to get over to YouTube in probably the next 10 or 15 minutes as we will give you the photo reveal or reveals that were busted out on the internet yesterday, courtesy of an exclusive from the Daily Mail, as the cocaine at the White House that we talked about right around the 4th of July weekend. The pictures have surfaced, and we've got baggies, and we've got a cubby, and we've got lockers that are identified, but apparently the cameras just don't point in that direction. So that's coming up. And also, locally here in Philadelphia, we are being featured a little bit from the Wall Street Journal as to Joe Biden and how he is losing black voters and why it matters. More bad news for Joe. But I did think it was kind of interesting. You know, I paid attention a little bit to the story with Douglas Mackey, and I didn't read the federal indictment, but I looked it over yesterday. They had a nice, like, 2-page summary that wouldn't make your head explode. And that was some of the excerpts that I read for you before we played you some of those clips of Tucker Carlson from episode 38 and how Tucker Carlson believes that the First Amendment now is officially done, and he uses that case to highlight it. And this is where I say in the beginning of the big take that I'm kind of hit or miss at times with Tucker Carlson. And this is a perfect monologue where I'm actually torn because, look, if a Democrat did what Douglas Mackey did, election interference via memes and social media jokes, would they end up receiving the same punishment as Douglas Mackey got? I don't think that they would. Now, he went from being, in his lifetime, he says, and you didn't hear it in this clip, but I watched the full episode of it, he went from being apolitical to being kind of conservative to then being a Trump supporter because he wanted something different, and now he considers himself to be libertarian. So, again, would this guy be treated the same if he did the same thing to throw off Trump voters with a what really does feel like an innocent, fake little meme and post and picture on social media? That being said, jokes, humor, and innocence, not defense for breaking a law, but I also feel like, you know what? For those people out there that fell for that, wait, so you're telling me I can vote for the president via text message or I can use a hashtag? Like, are you the dumbest person on the planet? And oh, by the way, the timing of it is very interesting. And that's the part I think that's scary is, you know, Douglas Mackey does this 2016-ish leading up to the election. And then 4 years go by and he probably thought, boy, I don't know, maybe he thought back then, boy, I hope I don't get caught, but it's worth it. This is going to be funny. And then all of a sudden it's a Saturday morning at 7 o'clock and you hear, sir, this is the FBI. Like all of a sudden your heart goes up into your throat, right? So I thought that was a pretty interesting breakdown from Tucker Carlson and Douglas Mackey, who's had to live it. I believe he had a 7-month prison sentence for that. But this is one of those things, again, too, Dawn, where we kind of look at these fine line, slippery slopes of free speech. And we've been talking a lot about free speech in the last month in really because of with Israel and Palestine and whether or not, you know, hate speech should be included under your protection of free speech and just how far you can go with the First Amendment. So I thought it was, I don't know if you paid attention to that case and that story, but it's been the butt of jokes, no pun intended, because at the end of the day, I do feel like it was relatively innocent.
I actually, Friday, probably when nobody was listening because it was a nice day and everybody was getting ready for the weekend, I did touch on this. And what struck me about the whole thing was that their own news release from this is Joe Biden's Department of Justice.
Yeah.
So this was this U.S. State's Attorney for the Eastern District of New York is an appointee of Joe Biden, just appointed within the past 2 years. And the fact that they call it, and I because I me from a news background, I'm looking at what does their press release say, and like what does that tell me? And right there, it's saying, oh, this is a groundbreaking prosecution. And that really stood out to me, Nick. I mean, to your point, and I loved your first take on this, your big take, I should say. We could do that. You could do a first take and a big take.
Yeah, and then ESPN will sue me because they have Stephen A. Smith.
Do they have?
He hosts that show called First Take. Yeah, and then Odyssey will get sued.
Yeah. But anyway, their news release says the groundbreaking prosecution demonstrates our commitment to prosecuting those who, and the dot, in my mind, I'm going ... but it says commit crimes that threaten our democracy.
Yeah.
And so to me, I know that there's a fund to raise money for Mackey, but I don't really, I just have to hope that this goes to the United States Supreme Court and that it is thrown out, because ultimately, even when you do something that's silly or stupid or that is saying, hey, text, I mean, because how far does this go?
Right.
Are they going to, is DOJ now going to go through
yeah. They just set the precedent for this, that even something as innocent in nature as this might be, I mean, this guy didn't have algorithms and things that Google tech executives have to, filter your content so you only see certain things through certain lenses and algorithms. So they definitely set a precedent that, like, if you go this far, we're going to get you. And by the way, it might not be till the next election cycle. But we will get you.
Yeah, and the whole thing is, did they actually go after anybody who's stupid enough to text Hillary to 59925?
I know.
And maybe they should prosecute them for just being stupid.
Right. They should be prosecuted for being
You know
lack
what I mean?
of intelligence. I agree. So I got kind of an interesting spin on free speech and the First Amendment from that case with Douglas Mackey and Tucker Carlson. But the Biden administration, they've got other things to worry about. And when they get together, and I don't know who's in their inner circle and what their team looks like or how they gather, but I can just picture them, everybody sitting down at the conference room, kind of, tired. They've got their planner and maybe their iPads with them, a cup of coffee, and they're like, all right, so what's the latest polling numbers looking like? Oh, we're struggling here, we're struggling there, we're losing this battleground state. Trump's picked up more points in Pennsylvania. Oh, and by the way, we're getting our you-know-what's kicked with the African-American voter. And, oh, by the way, there are people in Philadelphia that can actually verify that. That is the latest from a Wall Street Journal article titled, Biden is Losing Black Voters, and Here's Why It Matters. So they actually start right off with a family in North Philadelphia, and they say the following. When Michelle Smith voted for President Biden in 2020, she thought that he would help people like her, a black mother working 2 jobs and raising 3 teenage boys in North Philly. Now she says she won't vote for him again, citing higher prices, skyrocketing rent, and a feeling that she has been left behind. She goes on to say the following, quote, I really did think he was going to help people in my situation, said Smith, 46 years old, who earns $12.50 an hour working as a home health aide and makes deliveries for extra money. Quote, it's like all of them talk a good game until they get elected, end quote. Heading into 2024, the Wall Street Journal says Democrats now sounding the alarms about losing black voters like Smith. Black voter turnout fell last October and November in the 2022 midterm elections compared to the previous midterms of 2020. And also when it comes to Trump and Biden, here are some of the figures. I'm going to give you these because, let me see here. Okay. So this is a little complicated, but I'm going to try to just simplify it because they went on a number binge that'll make your brain explode. In 2020, the African-American community voted overwhelmingly Joe Biden, 92% to 8%. So that's a staggering, and that's obviously, it's typically, I mean, it might be a little bit higher in 2020 than it was in 16 or 12, but that is typically the takeaway is that 8 to 9 out of 10 African Americans will vote Democrat. And it was a little bit higher than that against Trump in his reelection bid. But recent polling from the New York Times and Siena College showed that in the hypothetical matchup between Biden and Trump, 22% of black voters would support Trump. 1/4 said they were somewhat likely or not likely to vote. So you're going to go from 8% to 22%. That's a 14% swing. And if you're the Biden administration, you know that you have been terrible with the economy. Roughly 70-some% of Americans think the country's going in the wrong direction. People are down on the economy. We are looking at crime. Crime so bad that the Secret Service now has to defend Joe Biden's granddaughter in an attempted carjacking and then pull out their weapons and discharge it. And you look at the galvanizing of the Trump base with all of these prosecutions and these persecutions. I would imagine that as the Biden camp sits down and sees these types of numbers in a community that they thought forever was a lock to be in their back pocket, they have got to be scared you-know-what-less that all of a sudden there's a sizable percentage of black people that are saying, you know what? Democrats keep telling us, vote for them, we'll make it better. We take the bait, and then here we are 2.5, 3.5 years in, and you can't afford jack squat. I mean, think about this lady that they talked to at the Wall Street Journal in Philadelphia. She makes $12.50 an hour. Like, $12.50 an hour. You were on the struggle bus at $12.50 an hour 20 years ago. $12.50 an hour gets you nowhere in this day and age. And this lady that they talked to, obviously it picks up a second job delivering extra deliveries for extra money. She is, I think, a single mom with 3 children. I mean, try raising a family on $12.50 an hour in your base salary job before you pick up a little side hustle gig. So I don't know what the Biden administration can do to figure this out. I would like to think that people are starting to wake up, that everything Democrats touch in big cities, they destroy, and people will stop taking the bait for the race card and their dated playbook. But this is probably the last thing. And this is, yesterday we just talked about the RFK factor and who RFK takes votes away from or who he doesn't take votes away from. And then you throw in the 1 or 2% with Cornel West. It just feels to me like there's not one thing going in the right direction for the Biden administration right now. And that's probably the last thing they wanted to see in the Wall Street Journal today. So figured we would share that.
Yeah, they always seem to come together. What I always worry about this is they do these stories almost to point out to them what they have to fix.
Mm-hmm.
And then, unlike Republicans where Ronna says, well, we just build the road.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's, if we have a bad candidate, it's not our fault. And the Democrats do the opposite.
But, I mean, you think about all the battleground states, though. Like, if I were to ask you this question, and I'll throw this question out to the audience on the phones, on YouTube, social media, however you want to interact and react. What is if there's one thing that costs the Biden administration re-election in 2024, what one is it? Is it as simple as saying, well, it's the most important one, it's the economy? Is it the way they've gone after Trump? Is it the RFK factor? Is it crime? I mean, there are many, we've talked about all the different bullet points, but I got to imagine that losing this sizable portion of the black vote, that's a 14-point swing, could absolutely be the thing that does them in. We'll see, though. 855-839-1210 is the phone number. Coming up next, you're going to want to get to YouTube. Speaking of the Biden administration and the White House, we've got baggies, we've got cubbies, we've got photos. Get to YouTube. We'll be back. It's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We're introducing Wendy's newest addition to the morning lineup. Say hello to the Wendy's all-new English muffins. They're here and they're ready for breakfast. Choose between our tasty grilled sausage, a fresh cracked egg and gooey cheese, or that Applewood smoked bacon, fresh cracked egg and gooey cheese. All of that comes sandwiched between a warm English muffin. These English muffins are the perfect way to start the day. All you gotta do is pick one. Grab an English muffin for breakfast this morning. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's breakfast at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Don't miss these upcoming shows.
See John Mulaney December 1st at Santander Arena in Reading. And check out Chicago with Earth, Wind & Fire July 31st at Freedom Mortgage Pavilion. Plus, see Hootie and the Blowfish August 16th at Freedom Mortgage Pavilion.
Don't forget John Mulaney, Chicago with Earth, Wind, and Fire at Hootie and the Blowfish. For tickets and info, go to livenation.com.
Looking for a new Ford? Winter Ford has the vehicle for you. Choose from our large selection of new F-150s, Explorers, Escapes, and Bronco Sports today. Winter Ford also takes care of you after the sale. Stop in their service department with no appointment necessary. Call 800-428-4000 for offer details. Visit in person or online at winterford.com. Winter Ford, people you trust, service and value you'll love.
Virtua Health is here for you, all of you. Here for the run-of-the-mills, the out-of-the-blues. Here for everything in between. And with our Rowan University partnership, we're here, rethinking the way academic medicine feels. Welcome to a more convenient, smarter healthcare experience. And that's more good for everyone. Find a Virtua physician or location near you at virtua.org. Virtua Health, now more than ever, here for good.
It was the day we all feared. The stock market went down and then kept going.
2008, when the markets lost over 50% of their value. But that was over a decade ago. Today, it's not so painful. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group calls that financial amnesia. When you forget the pain of losing half your savings, and more importantly, ignore the fact that it can happen again. A complimentary consultation from Retire Ready Financial Group can show you where you stand now before the next market pullback. You're much closer to retirement than you were in 2008. Don't let it happen again. Call Jim Cipriotti at 610-894-7415 for a complimentary consultation. That's 610-894-7415 or online at retirereadyfg.com. You can forget where you put your keys, your glasses, or even your car. Don't forget to protect your retirement.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
Join WIP's Devin Caney and former Birds great Jason Avant on Monday, November 20th for the Miller Lite Bar Blitz in Westchester. The Miller Lite Bar Blitz will stop by Barnaby's, Saloon 151, Jitters, and Kildare's Irish Pub. Enjoy Miller Lite specials, cheer on the Birds versus Kansas City, and meet Devin Caney and Jason Avant. You'll also have a chance to win the limited edition Kelly Green Miller Lite commemorative can and koozie while supplies last. For info, go to 94WIP.com. Must be 21. Tastes like Miller Time, Westchester. Celebrate responsibly.
You've heard me talk about Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding. I love all the work they've done in my home, and I think the world of them. And I'm appreciative also that they support us here on WPHT and longtime supporters of us. So I hope if you're thinking about windows, doors, siding, stucco remediation, which they are experts in. You want to be careful if you're doing something like stucco remediation. You want to turn to the experts. You can trust Chapman. I would trust nobody else with that kind of investment in my home. If you're thinking of updating maybe your current siding or removing your current stucco and then replacing it with siding, think Chapman. And think about this. Think about updating it with James Hardy plank or vinyl siding. Just gorgeous. You got to see it. You can go to ChapmanWindowsDoors.com, take a virtual tour, and check out that beautiful James Hardy plank or vinyl siding. So if you're looking to sell, obviously, buyers are going to value that updated new siding too. So either way, it's a win. Now would be a great time to get ahead of things. Plan your siding project for next year for 2024. The certified Chapman installers are the professionals you want on the job. If you are somebody maybe you're looking for windows, doors, siding, stucco remediation, shutters, hardware, they really do it all. Just give them a call. You can text them. They're listening right now, like-minded, 610-431-8898, 610-431-8898. You can always go online, take a virtual tour, ChapmanWindowsDoors.com, get all the details. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Kayal Company, 6:51 Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Get on over to YouTube. Also, a electoral college poll that is very fascinating. We'll get to that Coming up in hour number 2, Nikki Haley, she's going to drop the bag. She's got $10 million reserved for just about 6 weeks from now. We'll tell you about that story as we continue in hour number 2. Also, some Disney disasters, another Marvel movie that bombs at the box office. But let's get to YouTube. We'll wrap up the hour with a couple of visuals. It was a story that we talked a lot about. Actually, if I recall, this was back on right around July 2nd. We all kind of went on somewhat of a break in July for the 4th of July. And I believe it was Mike Opelka and maybe Mary Walter that were in when this story broke with the first photos. Well, now we have the photos, but the story with Hunter Biden and the Biden administration and everybody saying, oh, man, there's cocaine. They found cocaine in the White House. Whose was it? We all assumed it was Hunter's. And, of course, about 10 days go by, 11 days go by, and they arrive at the conclusion that, well, we haven't been able to figure out just who the heck it was. So if you're on YouTube, you'll see this. If not, get on over now, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, because the Daily Mail has uncovered photos through a Freedom of Information Act request, and you will see the bag of illicit drugs that was found in one of these little storage locker cubbies on July 2nd. If you recall some of the specifics, it forced an evacuation. The FBI and the Secret Service come in, they investigate, but a culprit is never found. So there it is on YouTube. It's literally laying in the front corner as you open up one of these little lockers. It looks like a locker that you would put your phone and keys in if you go to like a Planet Fitness or an LA Fitness to work out
That's
at.
exactly what it is, right?
That's exactly
Yep,
what that
yep,
is.
Yep.
So you got the powder there, a little baggy. I think it's less than a gram. Excuse me if I'm wrong on that. I'm not into the drug measurement lingo these days. I've been out of that game for a while.
Can't they just... Who had the locker?
That's what I'm saying. And
like,
they reduced
it. Seems pretty simple to me.
And they narrowed it down to 500 people, right? So there was probably far more people that have come and gone and went through there. And we know that the Bidens went to Camp David for, another vacation family getaway, as they do all the time. And they narrowed it down to 500 people. Now, their defense is, well, the cameras don't face the locker. Well, you're obviously picking up those 500 people on camera at some other point as they are in or around that room. They walk past it. They open a locker, whatever they're doing. If they want to get to the bottom of this, they could. I mean, my God, they can sniff out January 6th people 2.5 years later as they send feds going through people's backyards looking like they're going over to the Middle East.
Yep.
I mean, come on. And there's another picture. If we can, I know Phil's got some other pictures. If we can rotate through them, there's a bigger picture where you see all of these little lock boxes, so to speak. It almost reminds me of like mailboxes in a major apartment complex, like down in a mailroom.
Sure.
So
I heard Kaylee McEnany at some point talking about this, describing that area.
Mm-hmm.
And she said basically those lockers, they're not really assigned. Anybody can kind of walk up to them.
Yep.
So they couldn't prove that. And the weird thing was the way that the cameras were positioned.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't tell exactly who it was because there were so many people that walked up. It's a small item. But to your point, they sit there and they analyze all this January 6th video for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
10 days. Like, yeah, you know what? We narrowed it down to 500. Couldn't find anything else. Let's move on.
Sorry.
Better luck next time.
Cocaine, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just a little powder.
Basically legal anyway.
That's right.
Basically
legal. All right, 855-839-1210 if you want to climb in. Hour 2 is on the way. Dawn will have some news, and an electoral college poll shows us a map that gives Trump the victory, 292 to 246.
One more thing on this. I know we have to break. I'm the one who said we had to break. It looks a little staged to me.
Yeah, it's just placed
like
right
who
there.
who puts it right. That's the only thing that's in there.
Right. You're so banged up, or you have no regard for anything that you just lay it there.
I smell.
Yeah,
I smell something. What was going on at that time that we needed to divert attention away from?
That was one of you probably had one of the Biden stories that popped up, and they didn't have a Trump indictment to go to.
I'm just saying that it just seems a little fishy to me.
It does. It really does.
I think you look for the Biden who always loses stuff, because I have people in my family who the one who drops their keys. It's that person.
It's that person. The guy that always loses his wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the wallet, the keys. So maybe they oops, the cocaine fell out of something.
No,
Oops.
this is a setup to divert the media away from another story that they didn't want them covering.
Yeah.
That's my take.
I'm going to have to go back to a July show sheet to see what we talked about, what was not good for the Bidens,
Yeah.
and
I
why
mean,
they diverted from that.
Why would you choose that? Go swim naked again.
Exactly. Do a little skinny dipping.
Well, they knew it was never going to be caught. They were never going to be caught, so they were just like,
yeah, it's all charade.
Yeah.
All right. 855-839-1210 to climb. In hour 2 on the way, it's Kayal and Company. Talk Radio 1210, WPHD.
Get ready for the most wonderful time of year with Christmas in the air. A first-class Broadway-style spectacular that's festive fun for the whole family. This snow globe come to life dazzles with a cast of high-kicking Rockette-style dancers performing alongside magical holiday characters. November 24th through December 24th at Borgata Hotel, Casino and Spa. Tickets on sale now at theborgata.com.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/stay covered.
Paid actor portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
This is Mark Luca, president of Aqua Pennsylvania. We're working to ensure your town's infrastructure offers high-quality drinking water. But did you know that property owners are responsible for underground service line from the curb to their home? To save money and protect the environment, have a licensed plumber check your service line to ensure it's leak-free and find and fix leaks within your home. Aqua, an essential utilities company providing clean, safe, reliable water when you need it. Learn more at aquawater.com.
For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Hatfield Pork brings flavor to the table the whole family will enjoy and keep you moving through the day. With over 24 distinct flavors that can be ready in minutes, it's food you can feel good about serving. Explore endless meal possibilities with Hatfield's variety of marinated pork, ground sausage, ham, and bacon. Find your flavor with Hatfield. Visit simplyhatfield.com for recipes and to find a retailer near you.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
As I watch the sunrise over the parking garage here in Philadelphia this morning, it is a beautiful sunrise. But you know what's more beautiful? Watching the sunset beyond the Isle of Capri. Yes, from your hotel balcony. Just picture yourself. I'm talking about the Amalfi Coast, Positano, Sorrento, Capri. Join me next spring, won't you, as we discover the wonderful sights in southern Italy with my friends from Conservative Tours, the Abbey of Monte Cassino, Pompeii. Enough time, of course, to see all the great ancient sites, and in Rome as well, all while enjoying a gastronomical event for 12 incredible days of touring. Olive oil production, mozzarella farm, wineries. Oh, the wineries. Tasting sessions, yum yum. The group dining events they're known for are legendary. Nobody does it better than Conservative Tours. 5267. This includes your non-stop airfare while supplies last. Just call them toll free, 1-888-733-9494, or you can go to conservativetours.com. You'll find out why so many Italians take their vacations in a place we will visit that is picturesque and unspoiled, Italy's best-kept secret, Puglia, with its charming villages and unparalleled cuisine, and authentically Italian. Conservativetours.com. Yes, please join me. Southern Italy next spring. Conservativetours.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
.702, Kayal and Company, as we continue live here on a Tuesday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. Coming up in just a little bit this morning, two stories in the world of football. California suspends an 8th grader, and they were completely wrong. We'll point out that absurdity over what they claimed in the world of racism. And also, Deadspin is claiming that a former starting quarterback in the NFL is playing the race card and being racist due to who he supports now that he did not support a year ago at this time. So we will debunk both of those absurd stories, clickbait pieces. But before we get to all of that, and of course coming up at 7:45, we have What's on the Cut Sheet. Let's get to the news, round number 2 at 7:03 on this Tuesday morning. And for that, we go to the great Dawn Stensland.
Yes, and good morning. We are sponsored this Tuesday morning, as Greg Stocker always says, Tuesday morning, November the 14th, 42 degrees, sponsored by Holland Floor Covering. We do have a developing story that I'm following this morning, and the video released by police is absolutely incredible on this one. So these are some armed robbers that we've been talking about for a while now. Philadelphia police put out rewards. They had a task force looking for a man and a woman in these armed robberies, brazen, at nail salons and beyond. So now we know that they have arrested and charged Maurice Allen and Christina Calenda, both charged in these armed robberies at these nail salons on West Girard Avenue and as well Aramango Avenue back in September. But the new development here is that they're tracking them as well to some other crimes in the past. So they arrested the man and a woman, and you see them, they were really covered head to toe, masked and really wearing, hoodies and gloves and the whole thing. It looked like planned armed robberies here and holding people at gunpoint. Quite terrifying. And it took a lot of painstaking detective work and this gun task force, as it's called, in Philadelphia, working with other law enforcement to try to crack the case. But terrifying for these individuals at these nail salons, sitting there. And a lot of these salons, you're going to pay cash. And so they know that. So in one of them, they did get away with more than $2,000 in cash, the wallets from the staff members as well. And so these were different cases in which, they were targeting people. It was terrifying for people. And in one situation, one 43-year-old employee was actually shot in her right leg and her foot during the robbery at another nail salon that was on Aramango Avenue. So these are very hardworking, local mom and pop shops, people trying to make a living, post-pandemic, etc. And this was terrifying for people. So they tracked these individuals, and at one point, I believe there might have been a stolen car, a stolen Hyundai involved, and they've been tracking this. Turns out now, police say they've determined that these two suspects were also involved in these armed robberies at the CNC Creamery in Philadelphia, in Roxborough, back in August, and as well a Dunkin' Donuts, or Dunkin' now it's called, on Rising Avenue, all the way back in late summer as well. So they had a getaway driver. These were also very planned attacks. But kudos to Philadelphia police as well as this task force, as they've worked very hard and are very proud, obviously, the Attorney General's office, to get these armed and dangerous suspects behind bars. So let's talk about what else is going on this morning, as we do have a lot going on. We had that car trying to escape from police, ended up crashing into a tractor trailer. That was an incredible accident, happened overnight, Chester County, Euclid Township. We know that 5 people are seriously injured in the hospital this morning trying to evade police. We don't know what led up to that, what precipitated that, but it did cause some traffic jams as the roads were closed in and around that area overnight into the wee hours of this morning, right down on Route 100 for many hours. It's reopened, and we await new information this morning as to what led to that crash. As far as the case of a missing toddler, a kidnapped baby in Philadelphia, police are still saying, Philadelphia police working with Vineland police, still searching for a 16-year-old babysitter who's accused of kidnapping a little 1-year-old boy, and now she faces kidnapping charges. They've released her images. She's 16-year-old Akira Johns. The baby, however, is safe and back with the family. So that one remains a mystery as far as her motive. So we await news on that one. We've also been talking this morning about a familiar name that made national news, and that was that convicted killer who's in this country illegally, Danilo Cavalcante, convicted murderer who escaped, of course, the Chester County prison in late August and was the subject of a lot of national news stories, is already serving his life sentence in prison for murdering a Chester County woman in front of her children, stabbing her to death brutally, instead of being, sent back to South America. We are still incarcerating him here.
I'm wondering if Shapiro ever came through with his promise to give that person back the Eagles sweatshirt that Cavalcante stole. Remember that?
This is a good question.
Yeah, he broke into his house.
That would be a nice follow-up to
know.
find out if they got their sweatshirt back.
I'm going to place a call to the governor's office later today.
I love it. So following these stories and much more this morning, but we want to bring you our sponsor. Holland Floor Covering is the region's premier flooring dealer, family operated for more than 50 years, providing exceptional service, professional installation. Visit their 2 showrooms, Wayne, Newtown, no charge samples, no obligation estimates. Learn more, hollandfloor.com. NBC 10 First Alert Forecast. It looks beautiful out, clear skies, sunny skies, but if you're headed out right now, you want to grab a jacket. It's quite chilly, so even though technically we're in the low 40s and heating up to 53 degrees, it will never feel like that because of a brisk wind. However, there is a warm-up in the forecast, and in fact, we warm up about 5+ degrees each day, Friday being the culmination of that 68 degrees on your Friday, but a chance of some showers. And then for the weekend, unfortunately, we tamp back down into the low to mid 50s. I will point out to you that AAA is already reporting that this holiday season, as Philadelphia is already breaking out the decorations, AAA predicting this will be the busiest one we've seen since pre-pandemic.
Don't they say that every year?
I feel like it's every year,
all the
right?
time. Last year we were doing the same story.
Yes.
Yeah, AAA predicting it's the greatest, it's the biggest since whatever.
Since 2019, This will be the most traveled holiday of all.
Every year we
I
do
know.
this. Yeah.
Which means if it's the most traveled holiday in the last 4 years, expect Fauci to be back on your television soon, folks.
Don't say
It's
that.
been the most traveled holiday since I can remember hearing about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, this is why I don't travel during the holidays, right? I'm just going to stay with the family locally. Besides, as much as I love the warm weather, as much as I love being in Florida, there's something about the holiday season and it's cold and it's gray and it gets dark. I don't know how I would react to being in a tropical climate for the holidays.
I could react to it.
I would love it.
Are you kidding me?
I'm like Kevin in Home Alone. I don't want to spend my holiday in a tropical paradise.
In Naples, Florida, for Christmas,
you're probably right.
it's decked out and they do this little snow. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Okay. Well, 68 coming up
wonderful.
on Friday is going to be nice.
Oh yeah.
That's nice to hear. Nice to hear Christmas music on the radio when it's 68 degrees coming up on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I saw your friend Bill down the hall, who's the one playing the Christmas music, and he says, Nick Kayal, Nick already, hit me up for tea time on Friday, so I laughed out loud.
We're working on that.
Chris, I do. This time of year, I'll take it,
Mm-hmm.
but then by when you're all stressed out, it's like the day before Christmas and it's still playing, or the day after.
Right.
You're like, I've had it.
Right. You've had enough of it. Get rid of
Play
it.
me some AC/DC.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And so we are sponsored by Holland Floor Covering. Did I already give them? I already gave my sponsor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that was
All
the
right.
NBC
Yes.
10 for you. Scared
Okay.
me because there was a lull. I'm like, did I do my
fault.
thing?
I thought you had your
Kayal
sponsor
and Company
left.
News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you. So with these polls, I found it very interesting. You know, we've talked a lot about battleground states, and I've got two things here on the GOP that we'll get to here in the next segment and this segment. But I just wanted to point this out. StackTrat on Twitter put out their latest poll, but they did it from an Electoral College forecast standpoint. And there's two things that are very interesting. Number one, first of all, Donald Trump beats Joe Biden 292 to 246. And look, we realize and we know it's going to be Trump. Trump's going to be the Republican nominee. But they also ran one for Biden against DeSantis. And this is the most amazing thing. Joe Biden obliterates DeSantis 359 to 179. But for the sake of Trump and Biden, they have Donald Trump in the battleground states taking 5 of the 6. According to StackTrat, Joe Biden would lose to Donald Trump in Arizona. Margin of victory of Trump, 1.4%. In North Carolina, Trump defeats Biden. Margin of victory, 2.6%. In Nevada, they have Donald Trump winning by a margin of 1.4%. In Pennsylvania, Donald Trump winning by a margin of 2.3%. And in Wisconsin, Trump by less than a full percentage point at 0.9%. So it's interesting. The only one where Biden wins, and this has been the common theme, is Michigan. Biden wins that by less than 1% at 0.7%. Again, StackTrat on Twitter, their Electoral College forecast is forecasting Trump 292, Biden 246. Again, take it all with a grain of salt. But I wanted to at least mention that and bring that to the forefront here, as we've been talking a lot about polls lately as Trump continues to do really, really well. But when we come back, we have to get to Nikki Haley. She has been the topic of conversation. When we're not talking about Trump, it's been a lot about Nikki, and she has the cash to back it up. The details on the other side as we continue. Kayal and Company live here on a Tuesday morning on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The future of joint pain relief is right here in the Philadelphia region. QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. If you've been told that more steroids or surgery are your only options, not so fast. Get a second opinion. Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. QC Kinetics does not mask the pain. These treatments go to the very core of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly into your joint, which repairs and restores that damaged tissue. Imagine living life, especially this fall, with no more pain in your knees, your aching shoulder, your back, your hips. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. Just call the local medical professionals, get a free consultation. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000. Just call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
It's exciting times once more in the city of brotherly love, and the Bush Auto Group is joining in on the action. With 2 Nissan dealerships in Exton and Limerick and an Infiniti dealership in Westchester, we have over 600 new and pre-owned vehicles waiting for your selection. And every single one of those vehicles comes with over $3,000 in bonus value to tackle the cost of vehicle ownership. A place so unstoppable they want to ban it, but they can't. So push that tush over to bushautogroup.com today, and remember, Philly rides with us.
Quarterback Jalen Hurts here for Window Nation, the best team for window replacements. They've drawn up the game-winning plan for you to save on new windows.
Call us today. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and for a limited time, get 0% interest for 60 months.
You'll receive installation by pros dedicated to perfect execution. Huddle up with Window Nation today.
Take advantage of the buy 2, get 2 free offer, plus get 0% interest for 60 months. Call 866-90-NATION or go online at windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION or windownation.com. JoeConklinComedy.com.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at the Sellersville Theater in Sellersville with Paul Wyants and Brendan Donegan. Saturday, November 18th. For tickets, go to JoeConklin.com.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds. Just say it with me. 40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds. You will lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get you and your body into the fat burning zone so you can finally lose that weight. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, it's contractually guaranteed. You are fully supervised the entire time to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water, and you even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. They're with you every step of the way. Absolutely no shots, no hormones, no surgery. Locations close by in King of Prussia, Newark, Delaware, and Cherry Hill. 855-5NJ Diet. Or from home with live online video consultations. NJDiet.com. 40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds guaranteed. NJDiet.com.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. When it comes to all your home improvement needs, trust is everything. And that's why for years, I've been talking about the amazing work my friends Stephanie and Matt and the entire team at Emmons has done for me and my home. My roof, doors, windows, siding, and yes, remodeling projects. Emmons can bring that same quality of work to all of your kitchen and bathroom remodeling needs. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, and now baths and kitchens. Emmons is the Delaware Valley's one-stop shop for all of your home improvement needs. Call 856-556-3229 and get a free estimate, or go online to emmonsroofing.com, or even better, come visit the Emmons Design Showroom in Cherry Hill. emmonsroofing.com. It's about trust, it's about quality, it's about great work, and that's why me and my family have used them for basically every project we've done to improve our home. emmonsroofing.com.
It's Black Friday all month at Gerhardt's Appliances, and we're turning hot deals into straight fire. This LG air fry range in gas or electric for $7.99 is a hot Black Friday deal. But the same range with matching microwave and dishwasher for only $6.99 after rebate, now that's straight fire.
Whoa.
Just like this Samsung washer and dryer pair for $7.99 after rebate. Sure, you can probably wait in the cold for hot deals Black Friday morning, but at Gerhardt's, we've got the fire all month long.
You get up every morning and make it all work. You make the hospitals and the labs work. You keep the shelves stocked, the cash registers ringing, the production lines producing. At Vestas, we have the uniforms and workplace supplies you need to do what you do every day. When you think uniforms, floor mats, first aid kits, restroom supplies, think Vestas. Vestas, uniforms and workplace supplies for the people who make it all work. Learn more at Vestas.com.
Listen on your schedule. Anytime. Just go to 1210 WPHT on the Odyssey app and search the Kayal and Company podcasts.
Kayal and Company, 720 as we roll on. It is a Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Coming up 745, what's on the cut sheet? You're going to hear from Gavin Newsom, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Karine Jean-Pierre. A lot of the A-listers saying all sorts of silly stuff. That'll be coming up in just about 25 minutes. And also, racism in football. Two stories that you have to stick around for because we will destroy these two narratives that are way off base, and we'll do that coming up here in about 15 minutes' time. But, you know, I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days, and maybe we could put up a poll question, or I'll put one up on my Twitter. You know, when we look at Tim Scott riding off into the sunset. He's going to be, as we mentioned yesterday, that news coming down Sunday evening. Tim Scott's out of the race, and now it is Donald Trump with a 40-point lead, roughly, over Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Nikki Haley. Who is going to be the next one to drop out and fall by the wayside? And honestly, we're obviously, there's somebody's going to have to, realize the writing's on the wall and, suspend their campaign. But I don't know who it will be. DeSantis is clearly in second place, 17, 18%. Chris Christie has made it known that, the Republican Party cannot nominate a man who's been convicted of a crime. So there's no way Christie's going to drop out, you would think, after all the tough guy talk, before any rulings come in any Trump court cases. Nikki has been shown in polls to have a 9 to 11-point lead over Joe. And Vivek Ramaswamy, the youngest guy on the block, the newest guy, he was just on a bunch of media tours yesterday, radio and TV, once again talking about the rivalry that he has with Nikki Haley. He doesn't look like he's willing to take his ego and his ball and his pride and go home yet either.
Vivek is next.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you look at the polling, I mean, and let's forget the polling for a second. Let's look at what they bring to the table, whether you like them or not. And we all realize they're all wasting their time, essentially, because it's going to be Trump. The furthest right is Ron DeSantis. That's kind of like if you want the most conservative guy, policy-wise, belief-wise, values-wise, DeSantis is your person, unless, of course, you are that person that loves his values and his everything, but realize Trump's the right guy, because that person exists as well. Christie is the complete opposite. He's the most moderate of the bunch. He is literally the definition of a rhino. He is a mainstream media darling. And then you have Vivek, who is, he's playing the card of the outsider and challenging now Nikki as a swamp creature and going off on Cuomo about being a mainstream media lapdog for his brother. You'll hear that later today. And then, of course, you have Nikki, who is polling really well, but she's also got the best message on a losing issue within the GOP, and that's on abortion. And now the story is coming out that Nikki Haley is ready to dump another $10 million in an ad blitz set up for January prior to Iowa and New Hampshire.
I will say that the next debate, which is December 6th in Alabama, to make the stage, this is Ronna McDaniel, GOP, they've upped the ante here. So candidates have to garner at least 6% in two approved national polls, right?
Right.
Or 6% in one poll from two separate early voting states like Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina.
Okay.
And then on top of that, they also need to amass at least 80,000 unique donors, those individual donors, with at least 200 unique donors per state or territory in 20 or more states.
Okay.
And they have until 48 hours before the debates to satisfy.
That would be December 4th.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Okay, I think that's the Monday coming out of that weekend.
Yeah.
So, the poll, by the way, is up on the YouTube chat, youtube.com/@1210WPHT if you want to see it. Who is the next to drop out? We have the three choices, Vivek, Christie, and DeSantis. Right now, let me see where we're looking at. 64% think Christie, 36% say Vivek, 0% say DeSantis.
Okay.
Well, does Vivek have, what is his percentage? Because 6% and then all those unique.
Well, Rana's been going around on media saying 4%. So.
Oh, 4?
Right? I mean, we've played those clips.
Well, then 4's not going to eliminate anybody because even Christie's at around 4%.
No. Saying Vivek is at 4.
Oh.
So if 6 is the threshold, he doesn't make it, and Christie doesn't make it. So it's basically going to be DeSantis and Haley.
DeSantis and Haley. Which would be interesting because then you start to ask the question for the umpteenth thousandth time, does Donald Trump join the debate now that the field has been whittled down? And at this point, I see no reason at all for Trump to jump in on any debates, regardless of how many candidates get dumped off by the wayside. So, when you look at Nikki Haley, it's just, I try to just gauge where the momentum is going, and she's got legit momentum. Like Vivek's making headlines, but I don't think he's got momentum. Haley's making headlines, and you can see that her arrow is trending up in the right direction. So some of these details here with this money that she's got. Her campaign is planning to reserve another $10 million in an ad blitz across Iowa and New Hampshire in the final weeks leading up to their primaries in January. Haley may have received a boost to her primary campaign now with the exit of Tim Scott, a fellow South Carolinian who failed to gather momentum and gain momentum throughout the primary. And also, the money is going to Nikki, as well as two of Scott's big money donors have already moved into the Haley camp less than 24 hours after Scott's decision to walk away. That, according to the Washington Examiner. Eric Levine and Andy Sabin have said that they will support Haley in the primary, and two other donors, Chad Waldorf and Jeff Burns, have signaled they may do the same. Her upcoming ad campaign will be her campaign's first official advertising reservation, as she is investing heavily early in Iowa and New Hampshire, as she's going to try to knock DeSantis out of the second place spot. I got to tell you, I don't foresee a scenario where that's not plausible. Like, I could see DeSantis absolutely falling to third, and I know he's got the endorsement of the governor from Iowa, but right now, I mean, DeSantis, I mean, at best, I think you could argue he's flatlined.
Christie, in my opinion, makes it till New Hampshire.
Okay, so he's one of the four.
He's putting all of his cards on New Hampshire to see how he does in that state.
Okay.
I think Vivek is the next to drop out, and then ultimately all the support is either going to go behind Haley or DeSantis, and I think it's going to be Haley.
Does Vivek stop talking once he drops out? Or are we just going to see even more of him on Fox News?
Well, Howard on the YouTube chat says, Vivek, per your suggestion, he succeeds Ronna McDaniel as the GOP chair. Again, I hear this narrative all the time. I just don't see it happening. Not because I don't think they want him, or because I don't think he would be a good spokesperson for the GOP. I just think that, like, he's in this. He's an entrepreneur. He's a billionaire. He's a big, swinging, what. So he needs to. He's not going to settle for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of a.
It's kind of a mouthpiece job.
It's
right?
kind of a scrub job. Yeah. He's not gonna settle for that. He'll probably take a cabinet.
Yeah, he'll be. Look, the honest to God's truth is he's so quick and he's so bright, and I think he would be. Absolutely, to any administration, he would be a strength, especially because he gets it as far as artificial intelligence. As far as we talk about the leaking border, the southern border, meaning the border. He's looking at the internet and looking at that cybersecurity issue. That is, I remember Don Jr. saying this years ago, talking about the cybersecurity threat, and nobody even talks about that.
Yeah, I feel like there's not a subject that he doesn't come off incredibly well versed in. Vivek Ramaswamy.
True.
Like, that's a guy that I think
brilliant.
If you're Trump, you have to have him in your cabinet, so to speak.
I will point out, because I'm looking at Real Clear Politics just to see the latest. So Ramaswamy in New Hampshire, is that the one you were talking about? With New Hampshire,
and Iowa.
He has risen. He's 5.8%, and then I think that's the one you said. Haley popped up above DeSantis. She's 14.8. DeSantis dropping down to 10.5.
Wow.
And then Christie 8.5. So New Hampshire, that one's an interesting. So Vivek almost makes the threshold, but he's still. I don't see. I'm looking through all the. By their criteria,
they're not going to just allow two people up there.
Yeah,
they're going to.
Terrible.
Yeah, they're going to say, all right, let's do. They're going to find some outlier poll somewhere and be like, yep, these two still qualify.
Yep. Well, we've loosened up the restrictions. You're in.
And you have to do 5 push-ups and one with one hand.
Yeah. Go vote right now. Who is the next to drop out? YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. Right now, Christie is at 54% and Vivek 35%, DeSantis at 13%.
All right, coming up next, an 8th grade football player in California suspended because the authorities, so to speak, thought he was wearing blackface, and they were wrong. The details next on Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Bradford white water heaters have always been built to be the best. loaded with innovative features that separate them from the rest. And now, Bradford White tank-style water heaters give you additional peace of mind with Microban antimicrobial protection. How you heat your water matters, so don't settle for anything less than the proven performance of a Bradford White, the only water heaters with Microban antimicrobial technology. Visit BradfordWhite.com to learn more and to find an installation pro near you.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Gone South, winner of the prestigious Edward R. Murrow Award, is back. Laredo, Texas, a border town community where in the fall of 2018, 4 women were found dead. In Season 3 of Gone South, The Sign Cutter, join award-winning producer and journalist Jed Lipinski as he unravels the story behind the manhunt for a serial killer that led to a shocking standoff.
All episodes of Gone South, The Sign Cutter are available now exclusively on the free Odyssey app or listen weekly wherever you get your podcasts.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, apixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist-prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Rescue Natural Supplements' unprecedented Black Friday sale is back again this year. The savings are bigger and better than ever. Right now, they're slashing prices on all supplements with discounts ranging from 50 to an incredible 80% off the total cost. Rescue has a wide array of products to address your health needs, including immunity, cholesterol support, heart health, and natural energy enhancers. It's 50% off omega-3s, probiotics, and so much more. And one more thing. This Rescue Black Friday sale will run the entire month of November. So shop today at res-q.com, res-q.com, or call a Rescue Product Consultant, 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Again, all Rescue supplements are 50 to 80% off during the entire month of November. So why wait? Start shopping at res-q.com today or call 800-26-ALIVE.
Want a hot investment tip? Get a new roof. When installed correctly, with the correct shingles and venting, you can save loads of cash on your heating and cooling bills. Plus, it adds to your home value. Trust PJ Fitzpatrick to get it done right, with a lifetime guarantee on materials and labor. PJ Fitzpatrick has thousands of 5-star reviews and over 40 years of experience. They can install most roofs in one day. Visit trustpj.com today to set up a free design consultation and take advantage of generous fall promotions.
Listen this Saturday as Penn State battles Rutgers. Live coverage starts at 11:30 a.m. on 1060 a.m. News, traffic, and weather is always on KYW News Radio 1039 FM and the free Odyssey app.
Here's retirement phase expert Phil Cannella with today's report.
In today's report, I'm going to talk about Medicare. Nearly 171 million workers contribute to Medicare through payroll taxes out of 327 million Americans. approximately 58.4 million people receive Medicare benefits. In this report, I'll tell you when you should apply for Medicare and how. But first, here are the 4 parts of Medicare. Medicare Part A is hospitalization insurance, helps pay for the inpatient hospital care and certain follow-up services like skilled nursing facility care, nursing home care, and hospice care. But Medicare will not pay for custodial care. Medicare Part B is medical insurance that helps pay for doctor services, outpatient hospital care, and other medical services like ambulance services and durable medical equipment. Medicare Part C, also known as Medicare Advantage plans. These are for people with Medicare Part A and B who prefer to use a Medicare-approved private health insurance plan, which could lower monthly costs but expand your copayments. Medicare Part D helps cover the cost of prescription drugs. If you have limited income or limited resources, you may qualify for what's called extra help. In Pennsylvania, it's known as PACE. In New Jersey, it's known as PAD, P-A-A-D. According to the Social Security Administration, you should contact Social Security about 3 months prior to your 65th birthday to sign up for Medicare. The most convenient way to conduct Social Security business from anywhere at any time is to visit www.socialsecurity.gov. There you can even apply for retirement, disability, and your Medicare benefits, and much more. If you don't have access to the internet, don't worry. You can simply call 800-772-1213 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
To hear more stories that will impact your financial future, join Phil Cannella and Joanne Small this Saturday at 11 a.m. on the Crash Proof Retirement Show, only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Don Stensland this morning at 10. Kayal and Company now on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Kayal and Company, 7:38. It is a Tuesday morning. What's on the cut sheet? Coming up in 7 minutes. Also, an absolutely great prize for our morning mystery movie clip this morning, as you will play for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see the Philadelphia Flyers.
What?
And the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Whoa!
On Saturday, November 18th.
What time's that coming up, Nick Kayal?
That'd be 9:20, sir.
9:20, okay.
And that's this weekend. That's this Saturday.
Oh, wow. You
Yes.
have plans? Let's go.
I mean, Penn State's not going to score any points, so you're not going to want to watch them. The Eagles don't play till Monday night. Hey, you watch the little pucks and sticks.
Yeah.
Little fly guys.
There's nothing like seeing a hockey game live.
Hands down, the best sport live.
It is the best sport live.
Yes.
There's no question in my mind.
Compared to how difficult it can be to consume on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you just don't get it any better in person.
Or on the radio.
That's correct. Yeah, that's true. Oh, imagine listening to hockey on the radio.
No.
I'd rather blow my head off.
Oh, okay.
But that's just me. But the hockey team doesn't play in this building on the radio station, so I can say that.
Yeah, of course you can.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we got a lot of good things to get to. Speaking of sports, we'll go from hockey to football. I actually think that sometimes people, organizations, media outlets, or entire states get so woke that they don't even have the ability anymore to process logic and use common sense and function in society without always thinking something is going to trigger another person or something will be offensive to another person. Like we talked yesterday about Ken Jennings and Jeopardy and what he said about people in assisted living facilities, and almost unanimously people said no, it was not offensive. But this one might take the cake. I know we have the picture, so Phil, let's throw it up on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT, and you'll see this. An 8th grade football player in the state of California was suspended for what they deemed to be blackface on his face. But no, it was merely eye black. So this 8th grader, who is known as J.A. for privacy reasons only, attended a high school football game between La Jolla High School and Morse High School on October 13th. And just like many pro athletes that he sees on TV, J.A. wore eye black streaked down his cheeks and chin. Now, if you've ever watched anybody in football, you will see sometimes people wear eye black just underneath their eyes. sometimes across the top of their eyelids. And other times they just take a big old can of it and they smear it across like it's war paint, right? Like you're going to play paintball with your buddies, or you're actually going to war and you're trying to cover up your face. And that's what this kid did. And I've seen many college athletes and many pro players go overboard with it and just rub it all over themselves. I don't know if it's an intimidation thing or if it's meant for the sun or the lights or a combination of both. But now, if you're looking at this on YouTube right now, imagine looking at that and you arrive at the conclusion that that's blackface. And then you take it a step further. You decide to suspend the kid and bar him from playing in what I presume whatever league he's a part of. And now it's gotten so bad that there is a group called the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, FIRE. We've mentioned them and referenced them before in the past on the show.
They're based here in Philly.
Yeah. And they've sent an appeal to the principal claiming he's violating the students' First Amendment rights, noting that J.A.'s eye black was, quote, a non-disruptive expression of team spirit. There is nobody, in my opinion, with a functional brain that could look at this and say, oh, that's blackface. That's racism. Dawn, you have sons. I don't know if they've worn, their
for sports.
So
for football.
So do they put it all over their face,
No.
or they go a little bit less?
No.
Okay.
Less.
No.
I mean, most don't do this, but I've seen kids do that also.
Yes.
When they're sweating and they're wiping their face.
Yes.
Sometimes it'll, so I don't know if initially that's how it looked, because half the time, they're kids. They're sweating and they're going to take their back of their hand. They're going to wipe here and there. So
yeah.
But come on, he's a middle school kid, and the first thing you do is say, "Oh, we're going to suspend him and ban him." Instead of have a conversation with the kid.
Yeah.
Even former President Barack Obama said he talked about a teachable moment.
Yes.
Right. So whatever's going on here, don't you first take the child aside as an educator and said, "Hey, what's that on your face?
Right.
Did your mom put that on? Did your dad?
Right.
Did your grandmom? Did you do it yourself? Oh, what's that?" You know what I mean? Just have a little ask questions, not leading questions, and they would have figured it out.
There's always headlines and stories that you see. Like, for example, there was one story where a lady gave THC gummies to her dog, and her dog ended up biting her in the face, and she ended up needing surgery. And I would automatically say, I would automatically be like, oh, that's got to be a Florida story, right? Right? And then I see this headline, and I'm like, oh, this has to be the state of California.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys a question, because I didn't play sports. I know it's obvious. But is that all of that black face paint is normal for sports? Because, I know it under the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would say
all of that is
no. There's more people that just do it under the eyes. I don't know. I would say maybe 10 or 15% of football players that use it do it like this. But then again, when you start sweating and it's a mess, it's all over you.
Well, that's not him sweating, dude. That's him putting it.
Yeah. No,
everywhere.
yeah, I know. But when you put that much on, I'm just saying in volume like that,
Yeah.
and it's just running everywhere, and you just got a disaster on your hands. But it's football and you're dirty, so who the hell cares? But most people, I would say, 8 out of 10 just put it, underneath the eyelids.
Yeah.
But I've seen this many times at
Have
many
you?
levels. Yes, college and pro. This is not foreign if you've paid attention to football.
So this is a kid who was he playing the football game, or was he attending the football game?
See, it looks like he was attending the football game in this picture that we have from Outkick. Now, some of the details are that the principal called the parents in for a meeting, and this kid ended up getting a 2-day suspension and may not attend any future athletic events. That's the thing where I'm like, wait, you're not going to let him attend future events? Are you kidding me? Give me a break here.
Yeah, and so they're showing on social media. People are posting all these different pictures of athletes who have the same configuration.
That's correct.
So is he a kid who's trying to look like he idolizes some of those NFL guys, and he's trying to
it's 1,000%
mimic
what
that?
it is. Absolutely.
It's just a shame, just to jump to that, and also even if you're thinking like the principal thinks, right?
Right.
And you're a far left, progressive, whatever. Why not just ask the child, did you put that on your face? How did you do it? Ask a question, because first and foremost, what if he didn't put it on?
Yeah.
What
that's
if
correct.
another kid put it on him? What if a parent put it on? It all matters, right?
It does.
And just ask a few questions. Go, oh, why do you like to wear that? Do you have a
Mhm.
favorite player? Just start a conversation and
Right.
listen and ask the kid. But that's what bothers me most here.
Well, it's the low-hanging fruit. It's just let's just rush to the judgment that it's a racist gesture.
But think about the kid for a moment. I mean, lockdowns, mandates, laws of learning. This is a person. This is a child in middle school,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
And if he goes to here's my other question: if he goes to a school where they're saying that there's a predominant population of African American kids, is there a piece of this where all the football players who are in high school
Mhm.
who are African American or whatever, they're wearing this? I just think I have so many questions to this, but to jump to that
Yep.
and to beat this kid down
Yeah.
and separate him out and isolate him, there's so much to this that's wrong, and it defies everything
Mhm.
we know about educators
Yep.
who care about children.
Well, it's also interesting too that if you immediately jump, like if I just saw that kid with that on him, I wouldn't think twice about it. And to immediately jump to the conclusion that it's blackface,
Mhm.
like what does that say about you?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like
It does.
why are you jumping to that conclusion?
Uh-huh. The disciplinary notice said that J.A., quote, painted his face black at a football game and characterized the incident as offensive comment, intent to harm. So,
Intent to harm.
Intent to harm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so just so for somebody who's not seeing it visually on YouTube, in other words, it's under his eyes, and it's if he took his hands on both cheeks and sort of rubbed downward.
Yeah.
So it meets almost like not fully covering his chin, just the bottom of his chin.
Right.
Not on his forehead. So it's not totally his face and not on his nose.
Mhm.
It's just under the eyes on both cheeks, and then sort of like he took both
Yeah.
hands and went whoosh and rubbed downward.
The only question I have about this is, because this was at a high school football game, La Jolla versus Morris, and he's an 8th grader, so he was clearly not playing in the game. My only question would be, why are you wearing the eye black on a Friday night as a fan in attendance when you're not playing in the game? Like, that would be if I'm the dad, I'm like, no,
Exactly.
you're not going to put that on tonight.
Exactly.
You're going to save it for your game on Monday night or whenever
Yeah.
you play.
Yeah,
So,
it's odd that he did it. It's odd that he's, he put it on like that.
Yeah.
But to just jump to the conclusion that it's blackface when it's not even
right. Right.
It doesn't even cover his whole face.
Nope. Does not.
Yeah, and does he have somebody who's a role model or a big brother who's
Mm-hmm.
on the team who said, he's like, oh, I can't wait to be like you someday. And they said,
Sure.
oh, and they took both hands. There are just a million questions that you could ask. But for the principal and the school to do this,
Yep.
this is a sad day to me. And how is the kid doing?
Right.
How's he doing now?
Right. Now he's got to cope with that and deal with some people that actually will believe that he meant to use it as blackface and he's racist, and he's got to live that for the next 5 years of high school.
I will tell you though, I don't like that I know they're saying JA, but they're releasing his picture, and it's making international news.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming this is the parents doing it. Who put his picture out there?
Right.
I don't approve of that.
Right.
Because it's bad enough. Everybody at his school and in his life knows it's him, but you don't have to do this. At least blur out something, the eyes.
Yep.
To conceal his identity.
All right, 7:48 Tuesday morning. Let's get to another edition of What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the cut sheet?
What's on the cut sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Tuesday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where they have ample inventory of brand new and beautiful pre-owned Volvos. Enjoy the luxury experience you deserve. They always go the extra mile for their customers because relationships matter at Cherry Hill Volvo. Check them out on Route 70 in Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Let's start off with Governor Gavin Newsom. We talked yesterday about tomorrow, Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Yep.
Is it president? It's not president. It's like a
dictator, communist,
ruler, supreme leader.
Joe Biden's daddy
will be with Joe Biden in San Francisco, and we were discussing yesterday how quickly San Francisco, up to, cleaned up all the poop and everything all over the streets.
Quicker than I can clean up my apartment.
And, got all the homeless people and be like, get out of here. Get out of here. Let's find places for you. We don't want anybody to. So Gavin Newsom defended this after many questioned, hey, if you can do this for these leaders, why can't you do this, on a normal day? And this is what he said. So let's start with his first discussion of this or comments on this. He said this last week on Thursday. Cut one, Phil, go.
I know folks say, oh, they're just cleaning up this place because all those fancy leaders are coming into town. That's true.
All right.
Because it's
Cool.
true.
Yeah.
But it's also true for months and months and months prior to APEC, we've been having different conversations.
Wow.
So I actually saw this clip yesterday when I was at the gym, and I swear, because everybody pounced on it, I thought it was a fake. Like, I thought it was doctored. I thought it was artificial intelligence. I'm like, there's no way he just really, like, that's got to be some social media conservative guy just doctoring stuff and making, and I'm going to fall for it and retweet it, and then Stocker's going to yell at me and tell me not everything needs to be on Twitter. Like, I was thinking about all that stuff yesterday, and he actually said it for real.
He actually said it for real. And then when was asked again about it yesterday, doubled down on it.
Oh.
Saying, if you have people over at your house, you clean up the house, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, my God. Cut two, Phil, go.
Anytime you put on an event, by definition, you have people over your house, you're going to clean up the house.
Oh, my God.
21 world leaders, you got tens of thousands of people coming from all around the globe. What an opportunity to showcase the world's most extraordinary place. San Francisco.
What a slap in the face to the citizens of that city and community that have to live through that garbage.
Yeah.
And then say, oh, wow, so you won't clean it up for me as a small business owner or a commuter or somebody walking down the street to take my kid to school, but a guy that's committing a genocide halfway across the world. You
clean up, everybody.
You clean up everything for this guy.
Like the in-laws are coming.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, clean the house, guys.
Yes.
Well, remember, we did the same thing here our leadership did the same thing in Philadelphia. Remember when the Pope was coming here?
Yeah, I remember it well.
Remember this? Rounded up all the homeless people and trash and
for the
it was
Pope.
crazy for the Pope.
Yeah.
Who could, who theoretically could help that, you know?
Yeah. And, the other thing, too, is how about the arrogance? I mean, Democrats are at the point now, and this is not just the first time where the Democrat has said the quiet part out loud. They just flat out say it right to your face. They don't care. It's like they almost know that they can't lose, so we might as well just be honest and be like, yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Xi's coming, so we cleaned up.
San Francisco Mayor London Breed was also asked about this on Bloomberg TV. The question is, why did it take a visit by Biden and Xi Jinping to clean up San Francisco? Which is a very good question. This is her response. Cut 12, Phil, go.
There's one question that everyone has. Why has it taken the visit of US President Biden, China's President Xi, leaders from around the world for action on all of the problems that this city has been talking about for 4 years now?
Well, just to be clear, we have been working on this now for a few years. This is not an issue that we've been sitting around waiting to solve. It's been something that San Francisco continues to work on.
So how quickly does all that return once Xi gets back on his flight?
It just happened to coincide with this.
that's
They've been working on it for a long time.
No, Gavin Newsom told you the truth. Yeah, we're cleaning up because we've got guests. As Dawn says, Xi Jinping is his official title, President of the People's Republic of China.
We played the video clip or the news package from that Fox affiliate in San Francisco yesterday, where they basically showed government employees in hazmat suits scrubbing everything down. And it just so happens that it just coincides with.
Yeah.
They must think we're idiots.
No, yes, and Democrats don't care. And yet, sadly, people keep voting for them. But, the thing with San Francisco, too, my old boss at the sports station that I used to work at now runs the sports station for Odyssey in San Francisco. And, besides, obviously, the crime and the homelessness and the outrageous cost of living and everything with that, the sad part is San Francisco really is a beautiful city.
It is.
I mean, even when you get away from the city and you go to the suburbs or you go on a long hike or a drive, I mean, it is just a gorgeous section of this country. And it's just been completely obliterated by far left policies.
By the way, if you're watching right now on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, we have a poll question going. Getting a lot of votes on it right now. It says, who is the next to drop out, Vivek, Chris Christie, or Ron DeSantis? Right now, Chris Christie is leading at 53%. So go to YouTube and vote on this if you have not done so already. One more on the San Francisco cleanup. NSA spokesperson Jake Sullivan was asked about this by, I believe it was, what's her nuts from Fox?
Dana Perino?
No, the other one.
Martha McCallum.
Jackie Heinrich.
Jackie Heinrich.
What, are we just going to name people?
I'll just rattle off every blonde on Fox.
I know,
Martha
right?
Brady. Marsha Brady.
Marsha.
Cut 11, Phil, go.
Governor Gavin Newsom said of the cleanup this, I know folks are saying, oh, they're just cleaning up this place because all those fancy leaders are coming to town. That's true. Does President Biden agree it's more important to impress the leader of China than the American people that live in San Francisco and pay taxes every day?
First, I completely reject the premise of your question. But secondly, I don't know what the context of what Governor Newsom said, so I won't respond to it.
I'm not going to respond.
I'm not going to respond to the future nominee that bumps Joe out of office. Well, that's a good question by Jackie.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
So we mentioned earlier, guys, that we have Flyers tickets that we're giving away coming up at 9:20 a.m. this morning. Well, the Vegas Golden Knights were at the White House yesterday to celebrate their Stanley Cup championship win.
Yep.
Joe Biden joined them, gave a speech, called the vice president again. No idea what time it is, what day it is. Cut 17, go.
Nevada's here.
Nevada's here.
I'll be gone. Please have a seat. Please have a seat. And welcome to the White House.
Where's Jackie?
The 2023 Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights.
Definitely have to read that off the teleprompter.
President Harris here to make sure we do this the right way.
President Harris.
Yeah, President
While
Harris.
He couldn't be here. I want to thank former cabinet member of mine, Marty Walsh from Boston.
President Harris.
Yeah, President Harris. So now we know who's calling the shots. It's not the third Obama term. It's the first. It's the first Kamala term. Joe's just her public speaker, her lackey.
Wow.
Yeah. And Nevada's here. By the way, the Vegas Golden Knights have been around, I think, for, 5-6 years. They've got, I think, 1 or 2 Stanley Cups.
They do.
Yeah. Flyers haven't won one. Not that I'm tracking this type of stuff anymore, but same.
You mentioned we mentioned Vivek Ramaswamy. He was on with Chris Cuomo last night on News Nation, and these two just went back and forth.
In front of an audience of 17,000?
It was basically, I don't know, look, I love confrontation. I think confrontation is fabulous. But for shows like this, I don't know. Like, okay, you have Vivek on, and you're just gonna battle with him. He's gonna battle with you.
You think it's a losing endeavor for Vivek from the jump, right?
Well, I don't know. I guess not. Any publicity is good publicity,
but
right?
We've talked about this with GOP guys going on, and gals like Nikki, going on, the mainstream outlets that cater to the left. Like, what does it actually serve? You're not going to win any of those people over, right? So.
Yeah, but I think Vivek is just trying to stay in the headlines.
He is.
And,
he absolutely is.
Right? And so look at Greg Stocker. What are you playing in your cut sheet?
Mm-hmm.
So that proves the point. He's we talked earlier about, the fact that the GOP has raised the bar for the net. He's got until December 6th to get 6% in, and this is like a sports thing. Like how do you get into like a bracket almost, but he's got to get 6% in so many national polls, or at least 2 of the polls for Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. He's at 5.8%. Vivek is. So he's got 0.2% he's got to get and then hold so that he can make it to the stage.
Yep.
He's self-funded. To those who voted to say that Chris Christie would be out first, Chris Christie is not a billionaire. Vivek is.
That's true.
That's a good point.
And Vivek's got a lot of chutzpah, this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got warmth, though. The thing, we met him when he was here in Philadelphia. Like, he's really personable. He has a side of him where he can be really humble, really personable, work a room. So he's just trying to remain in Greg Stocker's cut sheet.
Yes. You're damn right he
You know?
is. This is prime real estate right here.
He goes after Chris Cuomo, which look, it's the reason I'm playing it is because it's good talk radio fodder.
Mhm.
You know, confrontation like this is good talk radio fodder. That's why I'm playing it. But he does bring up the fact that Chris Cuomo covered for his brother Andrew, which I think is hysterical. Cut 19, Phil, go.
How are you going to bring people together when you just put together a tapestry of conspiracies? You know that I'm not pitching anything about
Chris,
Nikki
what are
Haley.
you
She won't
talking
even come on my show.
There's no tapestry.
She won't even come on my
There's no
show.
tapestry
What are you
of
talking about, that
conspiracies. I'm sure she doesn't.
Hold on a second. I let you put it out there, and now I get to finish smoking, and now I get to answer. Which is
What the hell is he talking about?
He thinks he's cool.
This is what the media is doing: is putting up Nikki Haley against me because they know I'm the real deal. Please. She hasn't even been on my show. I'm just watching you get slapped around by her, and I'm wondering what your strategy is.
The fact of the matter is, Chris, my strategy is calling out the mainstream media like I did to Kristen Welker at the start of that debate. I asked her about the Trump-Russia collusion hoax, told her to look the audience in the eye and apologize to them. Just like I'll tell you, you're part of the mainstream media despite pretending like you're not. Look the audience in the eye and tell them how you covered for your brother. For all that happened.
I'm part of the mainstream media.
Hey, listen. And you play the same games that the rest of the mainstream media does.
You don't want to take care of your
family?
You're doing it tonight.
That's
fine.
You have been
covering
for your brother. You have been playing a game. You were kicked off
cover for my brother. Of course I help my brother.
Yeah,
of course I do.
And you know what? That's been journalistic standards that have now been failed, not just by you, but by every member of the broken political media. So yes, it is going to take an outsider to call it out. And you want to look
everyone in the media is responsible for covering for my brother? See what I'm saying?
90%.
You miss
90% of the media is colluding with respect to pushing one answer on the American public for the origin of COVID-19,
which is what?
To the Hunter Biden laptop story, to now which people they decide they want to put up as their puppets to take on Donald Trump.
What does any of that have to do?
That's just the fact of the matter.
Look, Vivek, you can talk a lot.
What has to do with it is that mainstream media is setting the terms of the actual debates in this country.
Okay?
Wow.
Nobody knows what any of them said. They're
No,
just
neither
talking
one of those guys heard the other guy talking at the entire point. And there might have been a little bit of delay, but they were still going over top of each other. And this is now a trend and a pattern with Vivek. He went after Kristen Welker last week. He's gone after Cuomo now. I love it. I love the fact that he's calling these people out. And I think this really resonates with a lot of people that are Republican voters. Like, they're sitting back and saying, man, this guy, he's got some stones and he doesn't care. Like, because he has FU money. And he's not backed by anybody financially. And if it doesn't work out for him, he's going to be just fine. He's playing basically on house money, his own money, and he's got nothing to lose. And he's swinging for the fences. I applaud him for it.
More people heard that clip right now in Atco, New Jersey than watched it live last
That is
night.
correct. And by the way, what's up with Cuomo not wearing a tie on TV? When did that become a thing?
Oh, he's cool now. You know,
he's cool?
He rolls up his sleeves,
right?
Has the shirt unbuttoned a little bit.
Oh.
It's the new laid back,
right?
Just like you and me, Chris Cuomo.
It's like the same vibe here at Odyssey. We got away from like the cubicles and have more of this like business casual vibe going on with couches and pillows. That's the Cuomo look.
He's a good looking guy. I mean, he knows it, but he's a good looking guy.
He reminds me of the guy he reminds me of Stabler from Law and Order, SVU. He looks like him with that haircut now. Where'd the hair go? He's got a buzz going now.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. Just keep going, man. You got to go all the way down to the bald.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, look, I know it's good for talk radio. I know, we people here on the YouTube kind of like, yeah, go get him. But like,
I mean, it doesn't lead to.
It doesn't. No.
Well, I mean, he's not winning anybody over on the left, but maybe he's winning more from within the party as far as those that will vote are regardless. Maybe somebody was like, I'm just spitballing here. I mean, maybe there's somebody that was saying, you know what? I kind of feel, I think Nikki Haley. Oh, wait, now that I've heard Vivek, now I'm a Vivek guy.
Shafe with the YouTube chat comment right now that's winning so far. It says, must not see TV.
Must not see TV.
He also talked about Nikki Haley going after her, and he says, she's kicking your you-know-what. Cut 18, Phil, go.
Saying anything that's worthwhile.
You would know a lot
Here's
about
my
that,
simple
Chris.
question.
I've been listening to you, and I think that you're a good example of that.
Nikki Haley keeps kicking your ass in these debates. Why go
According
with
to the
her?
left-wing media,
Pick someone else.
Chris, give me a freaking break. You turn on social media, you understand. People should watch that debate. I went to New Hampshire. People were laughing at the idea of the mainstream media's coverage of the New York Times columnists and people like you who belong there with one narrative because you have some identity politic vision of what you think a leader of this country should look
Nikki
like.
Haley
When, in fact,
is
the
my
grassroots
Trojan
of this
horse?
country understand. Well, the fact of the matter is you guys have made a career out of deciding that the America First agenda is not the future of this country. Kick that out of the Republican Party. Put a genteel version that you can control as your little puppet so American politics looks the way you want it to. And yes, many people, you know what? We don't need a Republican Party leader who itself is a wholly owned subsidiary of Boeing, which itself is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Democratic Party, masquerading as a Republican.
Vivek,
so I do
there's a
think
reason
that the real
that she is
swamp
beating you in the
uniparty
polls.
is a problem.
There's a problem
for the last
with
6 weeks, and before that, it was the next 6 months before that. The fact of the matter is, we got one front runner in this race who's 60 points ahead of everybody. That's Donald Trump, and we should talk about how we're going to actually have a different leader.
He's that quote right there that he's saying, I think resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah,
I do.
Well, he knows what's going on. He's got the inside scoop. He's got the drop on everybody, and he's not afraid to say it. And yes, Nikki's doing much better than Vivek in the polls. Although, as good as Nikki was, I don't think Nikki destroyed Vivek in these debates. I mean, if that's what the New York Times is writing, I mean,
to be honest with you, we've done, how many debates have they done? 3, 4?
3.
Yeah. 3. If I'm just going by what we played the next day, Vivek for all 3 was the hands down most memorable. I don't know if you would say he's the winner,
right?
But for me, he was the most memorable.
He's left an impression.
I remember his quotes on all 3 debates more than I remember anybody else's, except Chris Christie with that Chat GPT line.
Yeah,
that was also against Vivek.
That's true. That's true.
You know, he did suck the oxygen out of those rooms.
That's true. And if Trump was there, he would be the one sucking the oxygen out of the room. And I think Vivek, obviously a big Trump supporter, he's kind of taken that what the debates were missing. With the void of Trump, in some odd way, Vivek's kind of filled it.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that if Vivek and Trump were on a debate stage, Vivek would be a scared puppy?
Yes.
I do too.
He would not go after him at all.
I do too.
He would not go after him.
He would not go after him the way he goes after Nikki Haley.
He hasn't gone after any, let's call it what it is. He's only gone after the female. He really hasn't given the knockout blow to DeSantis. I mean, there's no reason to waste your time with Tim Scott. He's just in the corner having a good time. He's a nice guy.
DeSantis, didn't he and DeSantis?
Did they spar?
Did he? Or no, not DeSantis, Chris Christie.
He's gone after Christie. Because Christie's gone after Trump.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, if you're pro-Trump like Ramaswamy is, then all of a sudden you're going to go after Christie because it's like a triangle of hatred here.
He still has not answered for what he's written in his book about Trump. So somebody needs to call that out because he's apparently changed his views 180 degrees.
What you're talking about, Vivek's book?
Yes. Where he basically said something to the effect of what happened after January 6th by the president was deplorable or one of those words.
Well, I mean, I think you're entitled to change your opinion 2.5, 3 years later. I think at the time, maybe that was Vivek's honest opinion. And now after seeing more evidence and seeing the January 6th tapes and the polls and the prosecution of Trump.
Or he put his finger in the wind and saw which way the party was going. And
you know me, I've said I think Vivek at times is a little too good to be true.
Yeah.
I think Vivek can be a little too polished, a little too artificial. I've mentioned that many times. So I wouldn't rule that out. So let me grab this call quickly because we were just talking about Vivek and Haley. We've got Gerard, who's in Burlington. He's got some thoughts on Nikki versus Vivek dropping out. Gerard, you go right ahead, sir.
So my take on it is this. At the end, this is what's going to happen at the end.
Okay.
It's going to be Vivek, DeSantis, and Trump. And that is very similar to 2016 when they had Trump, Ted Cruz, and John Kasich. Now, Kasich, that's like Christie. Christie is like the new John Kasich, okay?
Okay.
And everybody else is going to be gone. And now, I will say this. I did appreciate that clip with Chris Cuomo because that hits the nail on the head.
As far as the media.
Well, Vivek is Trump 2.0. Vivek is like the new Trump that the mainstream media is like, oh, my goodness, now we got another Trump again. Now we got two Trumps. We got to get rid of both of them. So that's why they're pushing Haley. That's why they're pushing everybody else and their brother, DeSantis. They don't want to talk about Vivek because, God forbid he gets in. Now we're going to have Trump 2.0.
But the question is Vivek just basically plagiarizing Trump? Because if that's the case, then it's harder to buy. So you've got Trump, DeSantis, and Vivek as the final three. I disagree with that. I think it's going to be Trump, Nikki, and DeSantis.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I do not see Vivek making, so to speak, the final cut. I could see Trump, Nikki, and Christie, although I think it will be Trump, Nikki, and DeSantis.
Well, so it depends on where the money. It seems to me the donor money is all kind of going towards Nikki Haley now.
Yes,
and they're abandoning DeSantis,
right? Because they view her to be the most likely that could beat Biden,
and he's obviously not a wealthy guy, so not by the means of everybody else. So if he doesn't have the funding, the backing, is he the next guy? I don't know.
Well, I mean, but here's the thing where Vivek doesn't have, and look, Vivek's going to be fine. Nikki Haley will be fine. But, like, DeSantis has a pretty nice fallback. I mean, from a job standpoint. Like, I know we forget about this. He's still the governor of Florida.
Yeah, when's the last time he was there?
Right? I know, but, like, he's apparently got more work to do. He got a lot of that legislation put into effect before the launching of Twitter Spaces in May. So
I gotta think that the Florida residents aren't super happy that he's spending all of his time running for president.
I know it's a small sample size, but some of our listeners that are in Florida have said that they felt like, he's abandoned them, but they're also very pro-Trump, so it's probably somewhere in between.
I think he made a really bad political calculation. I think that the people advising him should all be fired, and I think that he had a really good thing in Florida. He could have rode that wave for a long time. And instead, he's running for president, which he's going to fail at. And I think he's going to upset Florida residents so he might fail at that as well.
That's right.
So I think that he could lose on both counts.
And by the way, because we played Newsom to begin the cut sheet, we're only about 2 weeks out from the Newsom-DeSantis Hannity debate.
Oh, God.
That's still on the docket, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
The debate nobody's waiting for. In a new report by Politico's Jonathan Martin, President Joe Biden apparently called legendary Democratic strategist David Axelrod a P word that ends with ick.
Whoa, wow.
So this is in reference to what we played from him a week or two ago, where he basically said that, it might be high time for Joe Biden to drop out. I don't know if this report is true or not, but he was on CNN's Casey Hunt show yesterday, where she asked him about this, and this was his response. Cut 9.
Sir, before I let you go, I got to ask you, Jonathan Martin reported in Politico today that the president called you a word that, because we are live in London, I am not allowed to say on television, but it starts with a P and ends with K. Your response?
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't be the first, I guess, in my many years in politics. Listen, I understand he was irritated because I raised concerns that many, many Democrats had. And again, my feeling is either get out or get going. And but the status quo, the way they were approaching the campaign, this sort of what me worry attitude about the campaign was not going to get him to where he needs to go. And the stakes are so high, Casey. This isn't, Mitt Romney or John McCain or anybody else on the other side. But this Donald Trump, it's a fundamental question as to what American democracy is going to look like the day after the next election. So the stakes are very high. He knows that, but I think he needs to take a sober look at the whole landscape. And yes, he's committed to moving forward. I get that. He ought to then look at what his campaign is doing and what they need to do and get out of this sort of referendum frame and go after Donald Trump every day, because Donald Trump will be the nominee of the Republican Party. That may be uncomfortable for the president, but I will tell you, a whole lot of people got in touch with me after I made my feelings known, to say, I'm glad someone said it. And if the end result of it is that they take a good hard look at their campaign and get it and sort of turbocharge it and turn it into a comparative race now, then I'm glad that I said it, and I'll live with the fact that the president's unhappy with me.
Wow, Joe Biden, Angry Joe, coming out and calling him the P word.
What's interesting about this, and Dawn brought this up earlier when you were talking about the polling in the African American community with Biden, and she says that sometimes these stories are out there just to motivate people and motivate bases. Is that all? Was that all David Axelrod was doing?
I mean, he's kind of pointing out the flaws right now. I mean, and you talk about, of course, he had to mention, democracy hangs in the balance. Trump's going to go on the offensive, and he's going to point out all the, shortcomings of the Biden administration. I almost get the feeling that he is implying that Joe needs to be more aggressive going after Trump.
Yes.
And so if that's the case, we're sitting here on November 14th. And I know people say, oh, well, it's still early. A lot can happen in a year. But we're inside of a year. I mean, we're coming up on 50 weeks. At what point does this administration start? Because we just heard that the Biden administration, and we mentioned this 2 weeks ago on the show, that they just spent another $25 million on advertising. So to me, when you drop $25 million, you're not leaving the race. So if Joe is in this for the long haul and will be the guy on the left, where are the attack ads?
Yep.
You haven't seen them yet.
Well, they don't have to pay for them. They're just letting the mainstream media do the job.
Well, that's true. That's very true. That's a great point.
The hit job is all over. Look at every show.
Yeah.
24/7. Is he too old? He's too old. They're hammering this whole thing that he's senile, that he's not mentally acute. And so clearly they've all got the memo.
It is remarkable that you could not campaign, not debate, and just have the media do all the legwork for you. It's a hell of that is such a built-in advantage. And that's why when we talk about GOP getting it together, we are so far behind the 8 ball when all of these battles begin, from media coverage to, like in Philadelphia, 7-1 voter advantage registered wise for Democrats over Republicans. That's why the margin for error is almost non-existent for the GOP, because you have such an uphill battle to fight before the actual fight even starts. You're already in the hole, so to speak, in so many different categories and departments.
Vice President Harris was in, or should I call her President Harris?
No, it's President Harris. Joe's made that abundantly clear.
President Harris was in Columbia, South Carolina yesterday, speaking about all of these pro-Palestinian rallies and protests that have been happening all over the country, actually all over the world. You see what's happening in London and stuff. It's scary as you know what. But she, of course, trying to play both sides, says this. Cut 5. Phil, go.
People have a right to protest. We are a democracy, and we should value the voices and listen to the voices. What I hope is that we can engage in conversation and discourse in a way that understands this is not binary, not to mention what it means in our own country in terms of long-standing issues with anti-Semitism, which has been on the rise even before this happened, Islamophobia, and other forms of hate against people just simply based on who they are or how they pray.
Did she, two things. One, did she say non-binary or not binary?
Not binary.
Not binary. Okay, that threw me for a curve. I heard that non-binary word. I'm like, how's that applicable here? But again, the duality of this with, we're going to talk about the rise of anti-Semitism, but also Islamophobia. Why can't we just focus on the one thing here? And this is, again, and by the way, she has been, as bad as Joe has been with the messaging on the anti-Semitism, I think he's been very lackluster. She has been far worse on it. And I almost sense that there's conflicting views on the way this should be presented by the president and the vice president. Kamala has been very much more pro Islamophobia and talking about the dangers of that. Let's just focus on what really matters here. Hamas is a terrorist group that slaughtered innocent victims. And this dancing around it on eggshells and trying to appease both sides. Again, Why are we negotiating and, marginalizing one in fear of offending the other? The other is evil. They want to wipe out, not just Jews, they want to wipe out the West. They don't like the way Americans live their lives. And we're sitting here defending it or trying to do the both sidesism again.
Let's stick with the Middle East here for a second here, shall we, guys? Jeremy Corbyn was on with Piers Morgan yesterday. Jeremy Corbyn is a member of the Parliament for the United Kingdom. Apparently, he's a big deal in the UK. He was on with Piers Morgan yesterday. Piers asked him if Hamas is a terrorist group 17 times, and he would not say yes. 17 times. This is a guy who has a lot of political sway in the UK. You think what's happening here in the United States is bad, and it is. It's horrible.
Yep.
What's happening in the UK is 300 times worse.
That's correct.
There's something bubbling there that just screams 1939 again. I hate to say it, but all right, cut 15, Phil, go.
Answer my question. Want to just shout at me, that's your prerogative.
Should Hamas,
your TV, your show.
Should Hamas stay in power?
Listen, what I said was a ceasefire means a ceasefire. It means both sides have to cease fire.
Yeah.
It means you then...
No, you said that. Should Hamas stay in power? It's actually
Are you done yet?
It's actually a critical question.
Are you done yet?
It's a critical question.
Are you done yet?
No, it's the question.
Are you done yet?
Should they stay in power?
Are you done yet?
This country says they're a terror group. Do you agree? And should they stay in power?
Listen, I do not approve, support, or welcome Hamas.
Are they a terror? Are they a terror group?
Everybody knows what they are.
Are they a terror group?
Look, Piers,
can you say it?
Piers, can we have a discussion?
Can you say it?
Can we have a discussion?
Can you call them a terror
Piers,
group? Jeremy?
Can we have a discussion?
Can you call them a terror
Piers,
group?
Is it possible to have a rational discussion
Are you
with
prepared to call Hamas a terror group?
Is it possible to have a rational discussion with you? Is it possible? Come on, answer that question.
You can't, can you?
You answer it.
No, it's my show. You answer my question. Are Hamas a terror group?
There's something very satisfying about listening to two Brits fight.
I know, right? The charm of the accents is amazing.
It's just because they're yelling and they're being surly with one another, but it's still very polite.
Yeah. A nice little group of people, aren't they?
All right.
17 times. And again, this is his show. And what I say it every day on this show. Hamas is a terrorist group. Well, this guy refuses to. This is, you know what this is? This is like Alejandro Mayorkas refusing to say the word crisis at the southern border. He won't say it.
We continue on here, picking up where we left off. Phil, go.
Can I?
Are they a terror group?
Piers, can I speak?
Answer the question?
Can I speak?
Are they a terror group?
Piers,
no.
If you let me speak,
are they a terror group?
If you'll let me speak, I'll say something.
Go on then.
Go on
then, mate. Both sides.
You said that. Are they a terror group?
Listen, I said that.
Are they a terror group?
Of the process.
Are they a terror group?
Can we?
Why can't you say it?
Piers, can we go through what ought to be happening?
Just answer my question.
Why do you think
are Hamas a terror group
in the world are calling for a ceasefire?
Are Hamas a terror group?
Come on, answer that. Answer me.
No, it's not your show.
You've got so many opinions.
Why should I answer yours when you won't answer mine?
Why do you give out your opinions all day and every day?
Are Hamas?
You don't like it.
Are Hamas a terror group? Yes or no?
You won't like it when somebody pushes back on you. What I've said is...
I've asked you two questions. Should Hamas stay in power and are they a terror group? You're refusing to answer either of them. That is very telling. And you wonder,
it's not very telling
why people think you had a problem with Jewish people.
At all.
Right?
What is very telling is your inability to keep quiet for 30 seconds to allow anybody to answer a question.
On my show, I ask people questions.
You shout at people.
Normally, they answer them.
You shout at people.
No, only when they won't answer the question.
No, you shout at people all the time.
You've deliberately not answered my question.
So,
wow.
I mean, it's funny to joke about because I love the arguing and
even Vivek Ramaswamy and Chris Cuomo thought that was contentious.
This just the underlying problem of this is a huge problem.
Of course it is,
and it's happening everywhere.
And by the way, Corbyn saying I do not support or welcome Hamas. That's not answering the question of are they a terrorist group or terrorist organization. I don't see what the downside for that individual is to answer that question and say, of course they are.
Yeah.
What's up with all these shows that we have that we talk about where nobody answers the question that's asked anymore?
Because that's what television news has become. So it's the problem with this interview and just in general is that they're all going for the soundbite. And we see George Stephanopoulos does this. He just is going for the hit on social media. And so they go, well, I want you to tell me, fill in the blank. I want you. And so there's really no purpose other than that, other than to get the promotional hit on social media. And then people get their news from social media. As Greg Stocker always says, don't get your news from social media. And this is the problem. It just is it's like a dog that regurgitates, forgets it, and goes, oh, a snack, and then eats his, throw up. And then, you know what I mean? And that's all it is. It's just a constant regurgitation and not giving out new information.
That's correct.
Speaking of one more clip from the Middle East conflict that's happening right now, not conflict, it's a war. Not only the British press holding people's feet to the fire, but also the United States press, except we're doing it to Israeli leaders. Dana Bash had on Benjamin Netanyahu, and she pressed him on if he takes personal responsibility for what happened on October 7th. Cut 6, Phil, go.
Mr. Netanyahu, before I let you go, I know you've been asked this several times, but I have had multiple people inside Israel reach out to me knowing that I was going to interview you and say the one thing they want to hear from you is that you take personal responsibility for failing to prevent the October 7th attacks and protecting your people. I know you say the time for that will come after the war. Why won't you take responsibility now?
I've already addressed that many times, and I said this whole question will be addressed after the war, just as people would ask. Well, did people ask Franklin Roosevelt after Pearl Harbor that question? Did people ask George Bush after the surprise attack of November 11th? Look, it's a question that needs to be asked.
I think
and
those
these questions
were
will be
asked.
And I've said that one thing that is important is, and I've said we're going to answer all these questions, including me. I'm going to be asked tough questions. Right now, I think what we have to do is unite the country for one purpose alone, and that is to achieve victory. That's what I did. We formed a unity government where the country is united as never before, and I think that's what we have to pursue. And what the people expect me to do right now is two things. One, achieve this victory and bring the hostages back, and second, assure that Gaza never becomes
And to Israelis who are disappointed that you still won't take responsibility, you say?
Well, I said that I'm going to answer all the questions that are required, including the questions of responsibility. There'll be enough time for that after the war. Let's focus on victory. That's my responsibility now.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Here's the thing that's frustrating about this, just from this perspective of that clip from Dana Bash. It was Hamas that violated the ceasefire. It was Hamas that started this on October 7th. Now, historically, looking at Netanyahu, does he have things that he's responsible and guilty of? You know, when you look at his entire body of work, I'm sure you could find some. I don't know any of them off the top of my head. But it's not so much. I think most people obviously were against Hamas invading and doing what they did, but it was the caliber and extent to what they did. Remember, there was, I forget who we quoted on this show, that was basically saying all hands on deck. Normally it would be, they'd be against, beheading babies and children and slaughtering animals and elderly and females. This was like a savage free-for-all. So, but then again, this is just more par for the course, where usually it's MSNBC that's doing this line of questioning. Now CNN kind of taking a page from their playbook. Is Benjamin Netanyahu responsible for October 7th? Does he take some blame?
I mean, look, there was obviously an intelligence failure. We've been saying that from the beginning. Everybody's saying that,
yes,
but now it's not
standpoint.
the time to discuss that.
Right, but what did Israel do beyond? Yes, the intelligence failure. Yes, but the way she positioned that question was as if like Israel had it coming, like they did something to instigate or provoke.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, because you never give these quote unquote journalists or these talking heads on TV the benefit of the doubt, because there's always an ulterior motive behind what they're saying.
Yep.
So I do understand what you're saying, but I do think that there needs to be some sort of accountability for what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Like there should have been after 9/11. The 9/11 Commission was a giant farce, and we should take that report and rip it up and throw it in the trash where it belongs. But there does need to be accountability after the fact, but not now.
No.
Not while they're still in the middle of this.
No. Now it's about getting the hostages out and then destroying Hamas, and hopefully then you can get to a point where there's a ceasefire. You can't have a ceasefire when the hostages are still being held captive.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
One more and then we should break. KJP.
Oh, jeez.
Her job is to speak, right?
Yeah,
That's what she does for a living.
Yeah, that's what they were told.
About the Israel and Ukraine, the funding, cut 7, go.
This moving forward and making sure, we just talked about the supplemental, the national security supplemental, and making sure Israel has what it needs, Ukraine has what it needs. Let's not forget, they are dealing with terrorism and tyranny. That's what they're dealing with.
Tyranny?
They're dealing with an organization like Hamas, who is a terrorist organization.
Tyranny?
Tyranny.
Isn't it tyranny?
I'm surprised she got Hamas correct and she didn't say hummus. I'll take a tub of hummus, extra garlic.
Tyranny?
Tyranny. Oh, God.
I mean, come on.
I mean, I've botched some things up. But
You
come on.
have.
Yeah.
It's also not your job to speak for the administration.
That's
Just for us.
Just for us.
Just for us.
Just for
My
1210
job is just to get ratings.
Just for
That's it.
1210 WPHT.
All right. Is that it of Karine? Or
Yeah.
do we interrupt her? Or does she have more?
No, that's it.
That's it for her?
Yep.
Good. That's all we needed to hear from her. We should always wrap up the day with a cut sheet with Karine. Karine's Ponderings. We could do it. We could sell it, get it sponsored, the whole bit.
I love it.
It'd be really good. All right, coming up in just a little bit, we'll get to Dawn's Big Three. And then also in the world of false accusations, Deadspin is claiming that the Tennessee Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill is racist because he now supports the young white quarterback that they drafted last year, when 2 years ago when they drafted a black quarterback, he did not support him and say he would not mentor him. It wasn't his job.
I'm so confused.
So we will get to that story. And also, Megan Rapinoe, everybody's favorite individual in the world of U.S. women's national soccer. She apparently had basically a career-ending injury in her final match. And then she went on a post-game tirade where she brought up Aaron Rodgers and God. We'll get to that as we continue. But first, let me tell you about my friends at the Piazza Auto Group. You know, as a genuine customer of Piazza now since Memorial Day, the Piazza Auto Group is an interesting group because they're always trying to get the next thing out there. They're always very progressive, one step ahead, and they're trying to open up your mind to a variety of options. Now, I have a truck, right? So I was not really interested in an electric vehicle until I sampled one at the Piazza Hyundai on Route 202 in Westchester. And I sampled the Hyundai Ioniq 5. And I'm telling you, this thing, it blew me away. I'm not kidding you. 320 horsepower. And you guys mock me, on the ridge line's not a big truck, it's not an F-150 with the Hemi. It's still a powerful truck. But this Hyundai Ioniq 5, 320 horsepower, stronger than my truck. All the technology that you can imagine. It is, if you are into the tech type of stuff, you've got to check out this vehicle. You know, no dashboards, no monitors, not your typical stuff. It's all digital on what looks like little tablets, like a Microsoft Surface or an iPad. Blew me away. And of course, the standard stuff that's almost unbeatable. In fact, it is unbeatable. The 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Check them out today, Piazza Hyundai of Westchester. You can also see what they're offering at Pottstown and that location. And they're also going to throw in the complimentary home charger. It's a $600 fee, and it's an installation credit with the purchase. So it's going to be all taken care of. You can visit the nearest dealer that you can check out in many locations, or just, if you're looking for convenience, go to the website, piazzaautogroup.com. Tell them Nick Kayal sent you.
Get in on it early. Do it now. Philadelphia Eagles at Kansas City Monday. The line right now is Eagles +3. The money line, Eagles +130. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. Plunk down $5 on that Eagles +130, and you can get $150 in bonus bets when you win. That's $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. I love the FanDuel app. You can bet on everything from spreads, player props, over-unders, and so much more. Go to FanDuel.com/Greg, FanDuel.com/Greg right now and sign up. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT and the NFL. 21 and over. Present in PA. First online your own money wager. Only $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issue does not withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $40 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $18 a month, a savings of nearly $300 a year.
Whether you need a $100,000 policy or a $10 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. In a hurry? Don't worry. With SelectQuote, you can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-637-9116. That's 1-800-637-9116. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-637-9116. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
I'm living the life that I lived before I started having knee pain 10 years ago.
Meet Julie, a woman who makes the most of every moment in life. But over the last years, those moments were filled with agonizing pain until she discovered QC Kinetics.
Finally, the pain got so bad that people around me are like, oh, when are you getting your knee replaced? I was walking, hobbling. I listened to my last QC Kinetics commercial and I said, I'm done. I got to find out about this.
What Julie found out was QC Kinetics treats osteoarthritis with regenerative therapies, taking your body's own healing properties and concentrating them in the areas where you feel pain, helping heal and restore those damaged areas. No harmful steroids, surgery, or downtime.
It changed how I'm living. I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
Get back your life before the pain. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
Does your broker say, we're different, we're a fiduciary, we only make money when you make money? Well, the reality is no broker is different. They all collect fees, even when you lose money. Does that sound like a fiduciary responsibility to you? Crash Proof Retirement is the only firm in the country which fully records all educational sessions, guaranteeing a fiduciary responsibility and transparency.
My name is Ed Topkowitz. I went with Crash Proof Retirement in 2013. Crash Proof Retirement earned my trust. When you come in, everything's recorded. I think is proof that they are a fiduciary. I have a team of expert people who know what they're doing and have me as their first concern. And you don't pay any fee.
Register for the next Crash Proof Retirement educational event at the Falls at the Doubletree in Mount Laurel, New Jersey on December 13th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
For the first time ever, the Supreme Court adopted a new code of ethics. Convicted killer Danilo Cavalcante is facing 20 additional charges, and an agent with Pennsylvania's Attorney General's office is charged with possession of child pornography.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Wherever the road takes you this holiday, make it memorable in the ultimate driving machine. Step into the BMW X5 with capable performance, cutting-edge technology, and unmistakable presence. Or chart a different course in the BMW X3. With style and powerful all-terrain versatility, there's no limit to your adventure. Find your ultimate BMW X3 or X5 at the Road Home sales event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Lease a 2023 BMW X3 for $589 per month. Visit bmwcenters.com today.
Hey, Percy, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Remember to take us anywhere with the free Odyssey app.
Welcome back in, Kayal and Company. It's Tuesday morning as we roll till 10 o'clock this morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, 855-839-1210 on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook at 1210WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Still ahead this morning, we will have Dawn's Big Three at 9 o'clock. Also at 9:20 this morning, our morning mystery movie clip with your chance to win a pair of tickets to see the Philadelphia Flyers and the Las Vegas Golden Knights this Saturday at Wells Fargo Center. So very cool prize with that. Cut Sheet Part 2, who on Twitter and YouTube today, and what's on tap for the Dawn Show. Also, still ahead, Marvel puts out a major box office disaster. We will get to that story. And for many years, Homer Simpson and Bart Simpson have engaged in trying to choke and strangle each other. Well, that's going to go by the waysides as times have changed and the wokeness has infiltrated Fox.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yes, I'm not kidding. Sadly, I'm not, sir.
Domestic child abuse.
That's right. Animated child abuse.
I bet Dawn can get behind that, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Only animated. Right?
Only animated. And then also when it comes to Thanksgiving and the Thanksgiving Day Parade for Macy's, a petition has now garnered some strong support, 17,000 strong, slamming the non-binary and transgender extravaganza that Macy's has planned for their upcoming Thanksgiving Day Parade. Get to that story as well. But I do want to finish up the third hour. A lot of ridiculous stuff going on in the world of sports when it comes to politics and social issues. We told you about the story about the 8th grader in California who was suspended for 2 days and barred from attending high school football games for putting eye black all over his face, and they tried to say it was blackface. It clearly isn't. If you've seen high school football players, college or pro players that do this, it clearly does not resemble blackface at all. And then we get to Megan Rapinoe and Ryan Tannehill. I want to start with Ryan Tannehill for a moment. Most people are probably like, who the hell's Ryan Tannehill? Well, if you're an NFL fan, you know who he is. He was a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins for a handful of years, been in the league about 10 years. And then he went to the Tennessee Titans about 4 years ago, actually when I was working and doing sports in Nashville. He took over from Marcus Mariota, who is now the Eagles' backup quarterback. So Deadspin is a website that kind of started out as sports and pop culture. It kind of came on the scene before Barstool and Outkick, and then it took a super strong left turn into the woke waters, and they just love to say everything is racist. So one of their writers who has a history of writing about racism in sports, he goes by the name of Karen, Carron, Karen J. Phillips. He has written articles in the past, and they go by the following subjects and headlines. He wrote an article saying, white people watching black athletes play in the NBA are white supremacists. The Little League World Series doesn't care about black people. Black quarterbacks get no respect and have no job security.
I just want clicks.
Yes.
Just give me clicks.
Simone Biles doesn't get the same attention as Taylor Swift because she's black. And the Bears suck because they don't have a black head coach. So those are some of his past writing endeavors. So it should be of no surprise if you are familiar with his work. I looked him up on Twitter. He's got about 9,000 followers. He says that Ryan Tannehill, the Titans quarterback, is now only supporting the guy who took his job this year, Will Levis, because he is a white quarterback. So if you don't know the backstory to this, Ryan Tannehill, they kind of realized about 2 years ago he was not going to be the answer. He's no Jalen Hurts. So they drafted a kid named Malik Willis, black quarterback. And last year when they did this, the media asked him about mentoring Malik Willis, and Ryan Tannehill, and I'm paraphrasing here, said something to the effect of, it's not my job to mentor the young guy. Probably what you shouldn't say as a veteran quarterback, but he was, probably a little butthurt. He knows that the future's, the writing's on the wall. He's not the solution. So Malik Willis played a little bit last year, and he stunk. So the Tennessee Titans went back to the drawing board this year and drafted another quarterback, a white quarterback by the name of Will Levis. Rocket for an arm. He was actually at Penn State for a little bit, transferred from James Franklin, went to Kentucky. So now Ryan Tannehill, it was some combination of injury and being benched where they said, okay, we're gonna see what the young kid Will Levis has. So Will Levis has come in, and he's struggled as well. But he definitely fits the part of what they want to do more than the kid they drafted 2 years ago in Malik Willis. So now Tannehill comes out and he says that he is going to obviously support Will Levis. And this writer took offense to this. So Karen J. Phillips penned a scathing column for Deadspin yesterday, arguing that Tannehill's support of young quarterbacks depends clearly and solely on their skin color. And he goes on to say, in 2022, Ryan Tannehill wanted nothing to do with the new guy in town, Malik Willis. He's black. In 2023, Tannehill has gone out of his way to make sure people know that he supports the newer guy in town, Will Levis. He's white. This stuff writes itself. And I can go on, but it's really not worth it. So let me explain to everybody what I believe is the turnabout here for Ryan Tannehill. I think the first time that it happened, and he was benched for a young, unproven rookie, he took that personally. He felt hurt. He thought he still was the best option for the team at the time. Now it happens for a second time in 2 years, and the writing was on the wall this past April and May when they drafted another quarterback. I mean, let's face it, if you're the quarterback and they draft a rookie in back-to-back draft classes, they are telling you we're hell-bent on finding somebody that can do more than you. I think this time around, it didn't have anything to do with skin color the first time, has nothing to do with skin color the second time. I think he's learned his lesson by not being a better team player and veteran and mentor, and he says the right thing that you're supposed to say, even if you're behind the scenes, you're ticked off and you feel like you're being slighted, and he gets it right. He rights the ship, and of course, low-hanging fruit for hack writers at Deadspin who probably get paid per click, which is a terrible way to live your life. And he goes out of the way, and this guy has a history of making outlandish comments about racism in sports. And I'm not naive enough to think that racism doesn't exist. Clearly, it does. I've even said, heck, I think anti-Semitism is at a higher level than your traditional, quote, racism in America. But once again, the demand for it far exceeds the supply. And this guy has a history of writing trash articles and playing to the low-hanging fruit clickbait crowd. So that's kind of my stance on that. And here's the thing that bothers me the most, too, is in the world of sports are like the ultimate meritocracy. There's no DEI in sports. There's no diversity, equity, and inclusion. You play, you get paid, you get promoted, you get drafted, you get a contract extension based on solely your merit. You know, if the NFL tried to adopt a DEI policy, we would have a terrible product because it's about putting the best 53 players on the field for the team on a given Sunday, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, political leanings. And for the most part, when sports fans come together, when you walk into Lincoln Financial Field, you don't care if the person next to you voted for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. You just care that the person next to you is wearing Kelly green or midnight green and not a Dallas Cowboys jersey. So the whole concept of this in sports, to me, is completely overblown. And if you've ever been a part of a team or in a locker room, sure, there's moments where maybe there's stories of racism within sports. But for the most part, everybody's on the same page for one common goal. And I think that's pretty clear. So I just wanted to get that story out there because I just, once again, another absurd column written by somebody that really has no proof, no evidence that Ryan Tannehill is remotely racist, but it's convenient. And I really hope we get to the point one day where these people that get smeared, unjustifiably so, hit back with these writers that do this, and I'd sue the hell out of them. Like slander, libel, defamation, any of those, terms that are applicable. I mean, I don't know if it's worth the time. I mean, Ryan Tannehill makes millions. This writer probably makes $35,000. You're probably not going to recover much in damages, but like these people need to have their feet held to the fire for like the cavalier nature in which we just label people as bigots, racists, haters. I mean, Dawn, I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on this. I know it's, the Tennessee Titans story, so to speak, but your boys play sports, and I'm sure your boys can attest to, the locker room dynamic. We don't care what you're.
No.
Just show up and work your butt off and let's go win a game.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Nobody's talking about politics.
No.
They're talking about the game.
Right.
And it's it's a shame that they're trying to basically suck in sports to do this.
Yeah.
To make it political.
The white quarterback, black quarterback conversation is so exhausting to talk about because it's been done so many times that and you know what? I'm taking the bait right here myself. I'm giving this guy probably more attention than he got from the article that he wrote on Deadspin and posted on his Twitter feed. So that's that. Then we got to get to Megan Rapinoe. We have talked about her many times, especially coming out of the summer during the World Cup. Megan Rapinoe, one of these people that hates Donald Trump. She's a part of the LGBTQ community. She's an atheist. She's just a really miserable human being, and she's finishing her career. And apparently, in the final match of her career this past Saturday, she went down 6 minutes into her match with what they believe is a torn Achilles. It's the same thing that happened to Aaron Rodgers of the Jets 4 plays into the season opener on Monday Night Football. And this was Megan Rapinoe in her post-match, post-press conference, where she not only talks about Aaron Rodgers and the treatment that he received and how she's going to try to reach out to him with the surgeon, but then she goes and says, this is further proof that there is no God. Take a listen to this.
This is a long one, although I'm going to get the Aaron Rodgers treatment, whatever that is. So I'm going to be calling him or whoever did his surgery because we need to speed this up. But yeah, I thought about it a little bit. I mean, I'm not a religious person or anything. And if there was a God, like, this is proof that there isn't. This is up. So yeah, it's just up, you guys, like 6 minutes in. Eat my Achilles. I mean, what the
She's an incredibly unlikable person.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this, like, why would I value your opinion on your injury as you say that there's not a God? I'm religious, Dawn. I know you're religious. I don't, advertise my religion. You do you. I'm fine with it. So I don't really value her opinion as an atheist as to whether or not there's a God based on the fact that you got injured in a sporting event. But I was thinking about this because she is one of these people that has played the victim card.
Thank you for saying that.
For so long.
I don't care what you said about God.
Right.
I'm not religious.
That's her opinion. I'm fine with that.
My thought on this is that she is always looking for an excuse of how she's been victimized.
Yes.
I've never met Colin Kaepernick, but I've never met another more professional victim than Megan Rapinoe, or however the hell you say her name.
She and I was thinking about this yesterday and I hate using the word woke because DeSantis killed it, but she definitely falls under that category.
Yeah.
And when you strip away, I think there's people out there, I think this was pre-pandemic, people were searching for their identities, and they didn't know what their identity was. And during COVID, you had a lot of time of self-reflection with yourself. You probably spent way too much time on TikTok, sharing incoherent thoughts. And now people play the victim card. And I think if you strip away their wokeness and their victim card, and you just look at them for what they are, they have no redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
There's nothing likable about them. And there's nothing that you say, like, man, I would like to hang out with that person, or, this person's, personality is very pleasant. They're just a very self-righteous, entitled, angry group of people.
Agreed.
And if you take away their victimhood shield, they're the kind of people you just never want to see or be around.
It's so true.
Right? Like, misery loves company.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, if you're a happy person, if you're a positive person, you like to surround yourself with people like that. You don't want to be around these people that literally think America sucks, the world blows, everybody's a racist, a bigot, a hate. Like, you just go on down the list, and it's like what? Why do you hate? So, okay, you hate yourself, obviously. I think that's the deeper issue here is you dislike yourself so much that you see no good really in anybody else unless they virtue signal along with you.
Yep.
It's like, hey, yeah, you want a virtue signal? You're in my club. You're in my club. But if you don't, I think you're awful.
Sid Weiss on the YouTube chat hits a nail on the head. He says there's lots of money in using the victim card.
There is for certain people. And I think they realized it was profitable, right? Like Colin Kaepernick realizes he's far more profitable in this endeavor than he is as a quarterback, as a backup at this point in the NFL.
You don't think she realized that too?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm sure she gets really good money from endorsements, but I'd be willing to bet the money she makes to actually play soccer. I mean, women's soccer does not pay millions of dollars, but the endorsements is where she makes her killing. And without that, I mean, she's probably going to be relegated to a normal 9 to 5 unless she gets a media job.
I just can't imagine going through life being that miserable. Like, they're just all miserable.
They hate everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you hate it so much, just go.
Yeah.
If America's such an evil nation filled with white supremacists, just leave.
Yeah.
Nobody's forcing you to stay. Be like the Venezuelans who left Chicago and said, you know what, we're going back to our country because Chicago stinks.
Well, it's funny, if she's as non-religious as she claims to be, and she doesn't believe in God, then she really believes that this is the one life she has. She better then practice that. Then live your life to the fullest and stop being so miserable about everything.
I know. 855-839-1210, the phone number. We'll come back, get Dawn's Big Three in the 9 o'clock hour. But first, Dawn Stensland with a word for QC Kinetics.
Yeah, because you got to start living again, living your life, doing all the things you love to do, especially this fall as we're heading into the holiday season. And the future of joint pain relief, it's right here in Philadelphia and our region. It is QC Kinetics, Advanced Regenerative Medicine. Some of you have told me, Dawn, it's like a miracle in my life. So if you've been told more steroids or maybe surgery are your only options, just hold up just a second, would you? Get a second opinion. Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. And I'm talking lasting relief. QC Kinetics does not mask the pain. These treatments go to the very core of the problem, using concentrated healing properties that are placed directly into your aching joint, restoring and repairing that damaged tissue. So just think about it. Imagine it. Living your life. This time of year, you know, we're less than 2 weeks to the Thanksgiving holiday, and beyond that, the holiday season. I'm talking about no more pain in your knees, your hips, your aching shoulder, your back. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. And this is what life is all about, moving and getting moving. QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Just call the local medical professionals. They're awesome. I visited them out at the KOP QC Kinetics in King of Prussia. Just get a free consultation. Do this today. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. QC Kinetics. Call them. 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
We're introducing Wendy's newest addition to the morning lineup. Say hello to the Wendy's all-new English muffins. They're here and they're ready for breakfast. Choose between our tasty grilled sausage, a fresh cracked egg and gooey cheese, or that Applewood smoked bacon, fresh cracked egg and gooey cheese. All of that comes sandwiched between a warm English muffin. These English muffins are the perfect way to start the day. All you gotta do is pick one. Grab an English muffin for breakfast this morning. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's breakfast at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Tailgating and watching the birds go hand in hand. And when it comes to tailgating, is there anything better than tailgating with Jack and Coke, the #1 cocktail in the world? I don't think so. And now Jack and Coke and Jack and Coca-Cola Zero Sugar are available in a can, ready to drink at your local PA Fine Wine and Spirits store. Jack and Coke, born for the tailgate. Please drink responsibly. Whiskey Specialty, 7% ABV. Jack Daniel Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Jack Daniel's at Old Number 7, a registered trademark of Jack Daniel's Properties, Inc. Coca-Cola is a trademark of the Coca-Cola Company.
Hi, I'm Jade, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit is the savoriness of the sausage, the fluffiness of the egg, and the butteriness of the biscuit. It's amazing. The perfect start to my day.
Hi, everyone. It's Justin. A little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit is the fluffy egg, the melted cheese, and the sizzling sausage. It's the start to your morning that you didn't know you need.
Order a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit and Simply Orange juice on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we have started a huge renovation. Take our already incredibly generous offers and add an additional $1,000 off all new Volvos, plus owner loyalty, plus up to $2,000 when financing or leasing shopping with Volvo cars. Plus, $7,500 lease rebate on all plug-in Volvos. This is a fabulous time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo. This month's offers are incredible, and we must make space for all the construction vehicles. Visit us now.
Free speech lives here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And on the free Odyssey app.
Kayal Company, straight up 9 o'clock Tuesday morning here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHD. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube, youtube.com/at1210 WPHT. Morning mystery movie clip coming up at 9:20. We've got flyers and Golden Knights tickets to give away for this Saturday at the Wells Fargo Center. Cut Sheet Part 2, who on Twitter and YouTube today, and what is on tap for the Dawn Show. We've got some stories to get to in the world of entertainment with Marvel, with The Simpsons, and also a Thanksgiving Day parade with Macy's and a petition that is gaining momentum and steam. We'll get to all of that this morning. But first, let's get to Dawn Stenzlin at 9:01 for her Big Three at 9.
It's the Big 3 at 9 on Kayal Company.
Big 3 at 9 on this sunny but blustery day. It'll never feel like the high of 52 degrees because of that wind. We are sponsored by Consumer Cellular in the Big 3. So for a suburban officer who was involved, it called to a very tense situation. That officer now cleared after shooting and killing a woman who pointed a gun at the police. This is the ruling from Montgomery County from the DA's office announcing the investigation into the woman who was shot and killed by the officer after the woman pointed that gun at police has indeed been ruled officially a lawful use of force. So this stems from what happened October 8th. Police, as well as first responders, they were called via 911 for reports of a suicidal woman and that she was armed with a gun. This is in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, in the suburbs of Philadelphia. When they arrived, they began to negotiate with 69-year-old Mary Meister, who was standing at the front door of a home, pointing a silver handgun toward them, toward officers. And so a Hatboro police officer arriving with a less than lethal weapon, shot 4 rubber batons at Meister, hitting her once in the leg. They say that Meister then raised her weapon, pointed it directly at the officers, at which point the other officer fired that weapon. So they were negotiating with her for at least 12 minutes, they say, and there was a handwritten note recovered from inside her home indicating her intention to commit suicide. You know, they call this suicide by cop, but you can only imagine these tense moments. And this happened in the suburbs. But this officer and all of these officers are reported as doing everything that they were trained to do.
Right. That's a terrible situation to be in. I mean, so many times, you know, officers in these spots where it's like you feel like you can't win. And it's interesting how they officially declare it suicide by cop.
Well, no, that was my. I was saying that.
Oh, okay. Because I kind of like the way you framed that.
I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah, like this person was basically saying my time's up regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tragic, but just shows you. I mean, I can't even imagine their day to day, particularly in the mental health crisis that we're seeing.
Yep.
But what the DA profiled here was they did everything they could. They had an experienced, trained negotiator there. They had the social workers. They had everybody there.
Yep.
And when she finally pointed that firearm at the officers, they had no choice.
Yeah.
Neighbors had called. So I just want to give that final ruling for law enforcement. By the way, Ms. Meister they said she was a member of the Upper Moreland Township's Parks and Recs Advisory Council. And so that was released. So many people in that community grieving this whole such a sad situation there. Pennsylvania, speaking of parks, Pennsylvania leading the nation in Lyme disease cases once again. New Jersey used to be the national capital for Lyme disease and ticks. They took a very aggressive approach to this, even though obviously here on the East Coast, we're dealing with this. But I just wanted to put that out there. The warning is still out right now that they're saying these black-legged ticks and the Lyme disease, it's a very serious illness, flu-like symptoms. You need to make sure and use the proper spray, watch your kids, because 50% of those cases actually happen in people's backyards.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I recall there was, on the severity of the symptoms, there was a golfer on the PGA Tour about 7-8 years ago. His name was Jimmy Walker. He got Lyme disease, and it derailed his career for like 4 years. And this was a professional athlete. So, I mean, those symptoms are nothing to play around with.
Yeah, must be treated. They're blaming the fact that we have deforestation, and they're going through this whole climate change angle of it and saying that ultimately there's this little white-footed mouse that carries the bacteria, the ticks bite the mouse, and that we're disrupting our forests where they live.
Always comes back to climate change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just use the proper spray, use the DEET.
Right.
Bottom line.
What's the protocol when you see the tick on you? When you get it dislodged, you have to get it by the head, I think is how, or that's the only way to safely remove it. I'm sure the tick crowd on Twitter or YouTube will give us the protocol, but
yeah, and they've changed the protocol because it used to be, burn it with a match, but they're saying you don't want it to.
My old man tried to do that to me back in the day. I ran like a little baby.
They'll on the YouTube chat, they're going to be all over that, but get it out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Number 3, since you touched on some of these kinds of issues and stories today, but there was huge applause in person and now on social media for a female pool player. This is over across the pond in the UK in Wales. This is a female pool player, not in the swimming pool, but pool.
Yeah, billiards.
Billiards. She refused to play in a women's tournament, and she was going for the final round of the championship. And she said, no, I'm not going to participate in this final because her opponent is trans. And so she forfeited. And the biological man who you see there, who's, I don't know, heads and shoulders bigger than the biological female here. And so the biological male was awarded the Women's Champions of Champions title by default after the female pool player, after she said, no, I'm not going to do this. So
no, nor should she. And I get it. It's not like an athletic competition, but having played pool enough, I mean, the ability to break the balls and break when you have them all racked together, and I mean, I'm assuming a man can get more force behind the cue ball than the female. So there is a biological disadvantage for that female.
And that was exactly what Lynn Pinches, who's the woman, that's what she was saying. So you see her in the video, she kind of walks over, she says something to the judges, and then she waves to the crowd, and then I guess made the announcement to them, and the crowd was cheering for her, and she was saying that the biological male has a reach advantage because of the height difference.
Yep.
And so just said, no, I'm not going to do it. So this has gone viral with a lot of people, commenting on
as
this
it should. I mean, the man's got more velocity with the balls than the female does. So I mean, it's science. What are you going to do?
Science. We are sponsored by Consumer Cellular, offering the exact same nationwide 5G coverage as all the major carriers, even in bumper-to-bumper traffic. Their 100% US-based support is just a click or call away. Plus, activation is always free. Visit consumercellular.com. Switch today. Kayal and Company, Big 3.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. If you missed any of the show this morning, shame on you. Where have you been? We start at 6 a.m. If you want, we did the big take this morning on the First Amendment and free speech, and we based that around Tucker Carlson's latest Twitter episode, episode 38, which features Douglas Mackey, the individual that went to jail over memes on social media leading up to the 2016 election with Hillary Clinton. A lot of stuff on Trump and Biden, the Wall Street Journal, Biden struggling big time with black voters. Also some polls with Trump in the Electoral College that have him emerging victorious. If you missed any of that leading up to the cut sheet this morning at 7:45, just hit up the Odyssey app and use the rewind feature or go back on YouTube and you can get some of that. Two quick stories here in the world of entertainment and animation. First of all, now I've said before I'm a huge Batman fan, but I'm not a superhero fanatic, so to speak. I'm not into Spider-Man and Marvel, and I don't know the difference between Marvel and DC Comics. And if that's your wheelhouse, I've got very little knowledge on that other than being a Batman aficionado. But the Marvel's newest movie is a total flop at the box office, marking a new low for the MCU. This story from the New York Post. Since 2008's Iron Man, the Marvel machine has been one of the most unstoppable forces in box office history. The superhero factory hit a new low, though, with the weekend launch of The Marvels, which opened with just $47 million, according to studio estimates on Sunday. It was the 33rd installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm looking at some of the numbers here. So Disney has already lost a whopping $1 billion in 2023 at the box office. And now this Marvel's movie was a total disaster. And here are some of the numbers. It cost $200 million to produce.
Wow.
It was $100 million to promote. And yet it only made them $47 million. Now, I'm not a math major, but that is about a $253 million loss.
Wow.
On the wrong side.
So $200 million to make, $100 million to promote.
Yeah.
The $300 million in the whole made $47 million.
Yeah. Wow. And they apparently replaced the now this is going, and we're talking about the Snow White movie. Experts are saying this is one of the reasons why Disney's put the hold button, or the kibosh, so to speak, on the Snow White movie, and it will not come out until 2025, is, if you recall, when we talked about that story, they replaced the diversity squad in that movie. Remember, they were using characters of like every generation, of every ethnicity, of every orientation, and everyone was like, oh, it's the woke Snow White. And they put that on ice, and then they tried to replace the diversity squad with these CGI dwarves, and ultimately delayed the movie, and they tried to blame it on the writer's strike. And now there are some people coming out saying, well, Marvel bombed because of the writer's strike. The actors weren't able to do their radio and TV hits to promote it, and things like that. Not sure that I buy that. And then lastly, this is just a great story. I think, now we're not talking about Fox News. We're not talking about Fox Sports. We're talking about Fox, Channel 29, right? Fox Television Network. I strongly believe the two reasons that Fox exists today is in part because of the success in the late 80s when they launched of two shows, Married with Children and The Simpsons. Obviously, Married with Children with real life people. They went 10, 11 years. It ran its course and it was over. The Simpsons is going on now. We're talking, 36 years strong, I believe, 35 years. And apparently the Simpsons have decided to go woke. If you're a Simpsons fan, don't be surprised, but you will not see Homer strangling Bart on Simpsons episodes anymore because times have changed. That is correct. They are pivoting away from this. This is courtesy of TMZ. Homer Simpson is done strangling his son Bart, and it has all to do with modern sentiments, it seems, a decision by the showrunners that strongly is dividing fans. The pivot away from the, quote, and they use this in quotes because they're being facetious, child abuse, is just now making the rounds, coming into the third episode of season 35, which episode 3 is titled McMansion and Wife, in which he meets his new neighbor and declares that he won't be choking his cartoon son anymore. The way this becomes revealed is through a handshake, which the neighbor points out as firm, and then Homer responds saying, quote, "See, Marge, strangling the boy paid off." He then follows up and says, "Just kidding, I don't do that anymore. Times have changed." We talk about like South Park and some.
Hang on. It sounds like they're making a joke out of it.
Yeah, and they're not going to be doing it anymore in the episodes. Apparently, it's the story I've got in front of me.
But they're acknowledging it. It's not like they're just not doing it anymore. Like they're making a joke out of it as saying.
I'd have to see the actual clip to see if they're making a joke out of it.
I mean, I love The Simpsons. I know exactly the tone of that comment.
So do you think Homer will continue doing it in other episodes?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because I'm not a Simpsons aficionado. Like I
mean, I'm not a Simpsons aficionado, but I've loved the show over the years, and I do think that they still do poke fun at PC stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that this is a little kind of tongue-in-cheek type thing.
Here's what they say in TMZ. So fans took this to be a not-so-subtle hint from Disney, which owns The Simpsons, which I did not know that. They own The Simpsons now, and it says in this story, before this episode, the new masters of The Simpsons had actually already toyed with the idea of Homer evolving and refraining from strangling Bart, with season 22 featuring Homer going to therapy and learning the harm he was causing by attacking his son.
Come on, that's a little fun.
It's probably funny.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just wondering. Like, I mean, we'd have to have somebody report back to us and let us know if they see any episodes where there is strangulation.
I believe that they are just poking fun at the tongue-in-cheek nature of the PC nonsense.
Because what animation and what sitcoms that go down this road still don't bow down to like the political correctness? You have South Park. I mean, South Park, we just mentioned last week, was mocking. What the hell are they mocking that we were talking about? That was a serious.
Good
story.
job. Phil has a picture of the of Homer choking Bart up on the YouTube chat.
Like if we reach the point where that really is eliminated, then I'm just gonna have to find another country.
JC3 on the YouTube chat says, "I'm as right wing as the day is long, but I was always bothered by Homer strangling Bart."
Are you kidding?
Well, I mean,
Oh my God. Who's that?
JC3.
JC3. I'm down on you, JC3. I'm going to bump you down in my YouTube power rankings. You were always bothered by that?
I mean,
by animated strangulation? Jeez almighty. Thought I was on the right side of you.
I'm giving The Simpsons the benefit of the doubt.
I hope so.
Although they do go through, once you're under the microscope of Disney.
I didn't know. When did that happen?
Well, I mean, if you have Disney Plus, which I'm assuming you don't, you can get all the old Simpsons episodes on Disney Plus.
Okay.
So
I just thought they were still owned by Fox or whoever, is the original creator and launcher of, the...
No, Disney just bought up everything. They bought up the Marvel stuff.
Oh, great.
You know what I mean?
Great.
So,
all right.
It's, but yeah, once you're under the microscope of Disney, they really do,
Yeah, because we can't differentiate reality from animated sitcoms.
Yeah.
But I digress. All right, coming up next, Morning Mystery Movie Clip Time. Your chance to win Flyers and Vegas Golden Knight tickets as we continue. Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Did you know the Philadelphia Eagles dentist is in your backyard? Starting their third season as the official dentist of the Philadelphia Eagles, P3 Dental on Roosevelt Boulevard would love to care for you. The all-pro team of Drs. Lim and Rahman provide advanced and compassionate care and are in-network with most major insurances. No insurance? No problem. They can help with their in-house care plan that will provide affordable care and keep you smiling like our birds. Go to p3dentalpc.com.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair is gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Hi, this is Joe Mederich, PNC Bank Regional President. Across the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, this is the season we gather together with family, friends, and neighbors. It's a time to celebrate all we've achieved and look forward to a new beginning as another year approaches. At PNC, it's also a time when we celebrate and thank everyone across the region for putting your trust in us. From all of us at PNC to all of you, happy holidays. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. Look at you. Your life under control. Aaron's done. Be proud of yourself. It's time to give yourself a reward. You know you've been waiting all day for your favorite tasty cake treat, but which one? So many great choices. Is it the delicious crimpet or the mouth-watering candy cake? Maybe a tasty baked pie. No matter what you choose or where you are, it's always time for a tasty cake. So choose what feels right and enjoy. You've earned it, and you know you deserve it. Tasty cake. Accept no substitutes.
Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
At American Heritage Credit Union, our rates allow you to choose what works best for your lifestyle. Save for your future with a 13-month IRA certificate at 5.25% annual percentage yield. Or enjoy a shorter term with a 5-month certificate at 5% annual percentage yield. Learn more at AmericanHeritageCU.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Not a member? Join today.
It's exciting times once more in the city of brotherly love, and the Bush Auto Group is joining in on the action. With 2 Nissan dealerships in Exton and Limerick and an Infiniti dealership in Westchester, we have over 600 new and pre-owned vehicles waiting for your selection. And every single one of those vehicles comes with over $3,000 in bonus value to tackle the cost of vehicle ownership. A place so unstoppable they want to ban it, but they can't. So push that tush over to bushautogroup.com today, and remember, Billy rides with us.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Hey, Kayal, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Kayal and Company, 922. Good to have all of you in here on a Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Coming up in just about 15 minutes, we've got What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2, as well as Who on Twitter and YouTube today, What's on Tap for the Dawn Show. It's all still on the way. All right, but it is shortly after 9:20. As we've got another great prize. We will tell you that about it in just one moment. But let's get to our morning mystery movie clip, shall we?
And now, the morning mystery movie clip on Kayal and Company. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I got an 8:30 res at Dorsey. Great sea urchin ceviche.
Dorsey on Friday night. How did he swing that?
I think he's lying.
New card. What do you think?
Whoa, very nice. Look at that.
Picked them up from the printers yesterday.
Good coloring.
That's bone. And the lettering is something called Cillian Rail.
It's very cool, Bateman, but that's nothing. Look at this.
That is really nice.
Eggshell with Romalian type. What do you think?
Think you know what it is? Be call at 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
Oh, today's great prize is really an amazing prize. You're going to get a pair of tickets to see the Philadelphia Flyers take on the Las Vegas Golden Knights this Saturday, November 18th, It's a Star Wars themed game.
What?
So you get free pucks and sticks, and it's Star Wars to boot.
Speaking of things Disney owns.
Yeah, there you go. Attendees will receive a Star Wars specialty. For tickets, if you don't win today, visit PhiladelphiaFlyers.com. But a pair of tickets can be yours right now. Flyers and Las Vegas this Saturday at the Wells Fargo Center for a special Star Wars themed game. Caller 12-855-839-1210. Best of luck.
Am I eligible?
You are not, sir. Odyssey employees and their direct family members are excluded from participating in these promotions.
By the way, one of the greatest movies ever made.
No doubt. There's no doubt.
I absolutely love that movie.
And I am not a hardcore Star Wars or Star Trek fan, but I mean, anytime you get this type of little bonus on top of free professional sports, cool night. Especially, or I think it's a night game. But
No. I meant the movie that we did for Morning Mystery Movie Clip. Is one of the...
Yeah, and I was just looking at that. There's no tie-in, by the way. If you're thinking if it came out today, it did not. It came out in 2000, but it came out in April. So there's no correlation. It's not the birthday of one of the lead actors or actresses. I think Dorenzo just plucked a rando.
Yeah,
That's fine.
We can do that every once in a while.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get some winners.
Yep.
All right, last story before we get to that winner coming up at the bottom of the hour, and then our cut sheet part due. We know Dawn and Larry will be hosting the Mummers on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And before that, you have the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I actually went to this one year when I first started dating Kristen. This was while we were still in college. And it was kind of a tussle because if you're from the Lehigh Valley, or Greg and I are from, there's a game that they play on Thanksgiving. It's called the Easton Phillipsburg High School football game. Kind of a big deal if you're in those two communities or went to those high schools. So one year, I agreed that we would go and skip the Easton Phillipsburg game, which is a 10:30 a.m. kickoff on Thanksgiving morning, and we would go to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And we went to it, and I'm not a big parade fan, but then again, I was, 19 or 20 at the time. Maybe I was 21. Certainly didn't have kids, but it's an awesome thing to take your kids to. Well, now you're going to have to deal with the... I love this stuff. This is like, before I give you the details, it's almost as if Macy's hasn't learned, as if they've had their head in the sand for months and months and months when other companies try to implement this and it fails. It blows up in their face. People will boycott them. But you know what? You do you, Macy's. Maybe you can withstand the backlash and the blowback, but you know that's going to come. So the headline reads from the Daily Mail, "No thanks. Nearly 17,000 people sign a petition slamming the non-binary and transgender extravaganza that Macy's has lined up for upcoming Thanksgiving Day Parade. A fast-growing number of concerned parade fans have signed this petition. It's led by a conservative group behind the petition that says it's not family-friendly. So this petition was organized by 1 Million Moms. Dawn, are you familiar with them? I'm not, but I'm assuming they're like a Moms for Liberty kind of group, generally speaking.
Well, not like Moms for Liberty, but yeah.
But okay, so they are or they're not?
There are some moms groups that are not the same politics as Moms.
Okay.
Moms for Liberty are conservative.
Yeah, well, this is a conservative group as well.
Are they?
Yes. So it was a petition that was started by them. It's called 1 Million Moms, part of the Conservative American Family Association, that says the event will expose tens of millions of viewers at home to the LGBTQ agenda. The sponsor of the event, the department store Macy's, did not answer the Daily Mail's request for comment. I love that. So you're all about it, but then you won't respond to it because you know that people are going to be up in arms over this. And this has been going on now. I think this is the 99th edition of the parade. I think it started in 1924, if I recall. How I remember that, I have no idea. But 1 Million Moms, a conservative group, says that there will be trans appearances that are not family friendly. And there's a graphic of one of these trans individuals, and they go on to say the following, that there are tie-ups between trans performers and corporations that have driven divisive in companies with families in recent months. They highlight the following. And as I was saying, it's almost as if Macy's has their head in the sand. Bud Light, their partnership with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney, and of course you've had Target, you've had Kohl's, and others. So apparently in this petition, 1 million moms warns Macy's against making a similar mistake, saying, quote, shame on Macy's for promoting and sponsoring this type of entertainment. They go on to say, you still cannot trust Macy's department store. It is clear that Macy's does not have your children's best interest in mind. Macy's needs to know that trust must be earned, and once trust is lost, it is difficult to get back.
What do people think if they see a trans person, they're going to go up in flames? like what's happening here?
To
Relax, everybody.
To me, though, when you think about a holiday and
dumb.
a parade, you think family-oriented. This is, again, like...
You think balloons. You think giant, stupid balloons. Who cares?
No.
You don't like the parade, don't go to it.
Well, that's the thing. But if you go to it and you're unaware that you're going to be exposed to this, do you want your child seeing this? Again, I don't care if...
For God's sake,
I don't
guys.
care if you're, like, trans or if you're a drag queen or any of that. But to me, it should be relegated for adults, 18 older. That's the thing that's wrong. It's not about, like, being bothered by it. Me personally, if I saw it, I probably would just laugh. It's not my cup of tea. But if I'm taking my kids to it, and then I got to see that.
The pearl clutching is just nauseating. Stop.
So you disagree with this?
Oh, yes, stop.
You've
Who
had
cares?
you've had
Who cares?
It. Okay.
like what's gonna happen to your kids?
I mean,
what's gonna happen to your kids? Stop.
Okay, I'll stop.
Well, I'm going to say this.
I'm not saying you
No,
stop.
no, I'll stop.
I'm not saying you stop.
That's fine.
I'm having a spirited debate.
No,
I'll say this so there are all these different moms groups that are parody Moms for Liberty. Moms for Liberty, as far as why they started, I think they're more focused on schools and what's happening in the schools to make sure the curriculum is appropriate and age appropriate. But for Million Moms, they're the ones that, remember Peppa Pig? There was something like they go after content. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're moms who will even, because I have friends who actually look at the 1 Million Moms thing.
Yeah.
So let's say you're a parent and there are all these different choices. You might look up and say, oh, is something age appropriate for my 3-year-old? Or do I want to, is such and such worth it? They actually do like the ratings, like we have in movies. Is it G rated, R, PG? And so they're kind of a trusted Christian conservative or faith-based conservative group. So they rate things.
Right.
So in this, I don't know fully, to Greg's point, it's not one balloon. They're saying that the kickoff has has a whole theme and a whole situation going, that they're saying, not really, like, come on already, just have a fun parade. And why do you have to have this underlying, LGBTQ plus thing going on?
Well, my question has always been with all of this, regardless if it's in a school or if it's at a restaurant, or like we had that one with you had the drag queens at the diner. What is the infatuation with targeting the youth? Because that's the thing that's disturbing.
Get them while they're young,
right? And that's I was kind of tongue in cheek asking that question facetiously, but like why or is it this never-ending rush to sexualize the youth of America? Like, to me, like, when you're 18, you do whatever the hell you want. You want to dress up however you want. You want to cut off body parts. Knock yourself out. I don't understand the specific demographic that these, especially Macy's of all people. It's a child-friendly, family-oriented tradition on Thanksgiving, and then also you're a shop, you're a retailer that, first of all, doesn't even cater really to kids, right? Like, yeah, your parents might buy you clothes but like kids aren't going into, like, that's where, like, when I think of Macy's, I think of perfume. I think of like my mom going in to buy like Liz Claiborne or something like that. So again, it's just none of it fits. And I wonder what the true motivation is behind it. That's why I bring it up.
It's people with it's people with too much time on their hands worrying about what the
actually
parades
disagree
are doing.
with you. I actually disagree with you on that one. But this is a group that what their little skill set is that's how they started, as an advisory group for moms who say, oh, if my kid watches this or that, so they don't have to, because I have friends and who, with kids, especially that middle school age, where they won't let their kids see stuff unless they reviewed it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's time consuming when you have you have a bunch of kids, you have a life, you're hectic. So this group kind of takes that up and says, we're going to rate this for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's their thing. Part of this was that they have non-gender confirming performers So it's a whole segment of the parade, and I guess it's leading off the parade.
Right.
And so because I thought right away of remember Rudy Giuliani for parades used to dress up as a woman.
Right. And there's going to be a lot of people that go there and they're totally blindsided by this, right? You say, well, if you don't like it, don't go. There's going to be a lot of people that don't know because
oh my God, I see somebody dressed up and I don't know what to do.
not everybody goes to thedailymail.com to find this story.
But I think that, so for one of them, apparently they're all triggered by this one character, Lulu, that's going to sing, I won't change who I've always been, a woman. And it's a man with a beard, with a full beard dressed as a woman.
You know, for a group of people who don't like cancel culture, you guys sure love cancel culture.
Not trying to cancel it. Not
No,
at all.
I'm trying to explain it. If I went to this parade, I could care less. I don't think your kid is going to, in my opinion, would I not go to this parade if I had plans?
He's
No.
going to turn gay now. Oh my God.
Nope.
But I think that what their point is, they have a greater point. And their point is, you know what, not for nothing, but why don't you have a biological woman lead off the parade? Why don't you have some children lead off the parade? Why do you have to have a man with a full beard who's clearly a man dressed up like in a bustier outfit singing I'm a woman? It's like a bustier.
The YouTube chat is just blowing up.
I figured they would.
Everybody's yelling at me. Shafe writes, Woody would without Pecker.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Just everybody's like, I can't believe you say this. Just take a chill pill, everybody.
Yeah, but
down.
Greg, that's what they want. So they're going to lead. They're going to lead off.
Who wants?
They're going to lead off the freaking Macy's Day Parade, which is a family parade. Okay.
Yes.
And it's a family parade. They're going to lead it off with a bearded man who's clearly a man who is named Lulu,
Not Tim
who's
Scott.
singing I'm a WOMAN. And so, not for nothing, once again, they're taking the job of a biologically born woman or girl who could lead off that parade. And I know it's a Broadway musical, but why not lead off with Annie or lead off with any other female, a real woman?
We've done females for 99
Right.
years, Stensland.
Now
It's
lead
time
off
to
with a
be
man.
diverse.
It's this.
Well,
so I
I
think
mean,
that they're just calling it out. They're calling it out.
It's all for the CEI and CSG scores. We know that.
Let me just say this: that I'm sure Macy's is trying to woke up their parade. That's their choice if they want to do that. I'm just saying that people just need to calm down a little bit.
Imagine driving home from that parade having to explain that to your 9-year-old that's totally befuddled and mind-effed now by what they watched. Totally confused, right?
I don't think it is.
Just don't go to the parade.
I'm not.
Parades are stupid.
I'm going to the Easton Peeper game.
Parades are stupid,
Well, no.
except for the mummers.
And by
Where
the way,
people dress up.
6 ABC.
Don't people dress up in the mummers
Of
parade?
course, they're amazing
Okay.
costumes.
Okay, so what if kids see that? Then are they going to spontaneously combust?
No, but Greg, I think, in all honesty, it's this whole movement in the media. The
I didn't
whole
say there
movement, like with this parade, and so to lead off the parade with a bearded man. Look at the New York Post has a big thing.
Yeah.
It's this man dressed in purple with a bustier, and he's got a full beard and a full mustache.
Mm-hmm.
It's a guy.
Yeah.
And singing "I'm a Woman."
Yeah.
And I'm not going to change my
Man, I feel
okay.
like a
Phil
woman.
is just he's really ingratiating himself with me. He put up a poll in the YouTube chat. Is Greg wrong? Of course the answer is going to be yes.
Thank
of
you,
course
Phil.
it is.
I love you.
Much like Trump, you can't get an unbiased jury.
But if you
Robert Schwartz's Greg digs the wannabe chicks with beards.
it's amazing to me how nobody cares that, and the women's movement especially used to freak out about anything that threatened a woman's job or anything with a woman. But, oh, man, put a bearded man and that bearded man can just roll all over your job.
That's correct. On the pyramid of victimization,
Right?
women get shoved down to the bottom.
It's crazy.
It
Hey,
is.
watch. The 6 ABC does a beautiful job with the Thanksgiving Day parade every year. I love, and it's a hometown parade. All the local kids, Keystone Boy Choir, and you get my David sang in that. It's so exciting. It's a really cool local parade. I would much rather watch 6 ABC or our Mummers Parade.
Yeah, your Mummers Parade where everybody dresses up like in
and it's awesome. And we
in
do
costumes
their,
and
they-
makeup.
And they're working year round with local costume makers. It's creative. It celebrates the arts.
Don't worry, Dawn. I'll be watching on New Year's morning.
Thank
That's
you.
my new tradition before the Rose Bowl.
Mike Carr
in the
writes,
Mummers, nobody's pretending to be somebody else.
Right.
What are you talking about? They're all pretending to be.
No, they're performing.
Okay. Mike Carr writes, Greg's upset because it's actually him leading the parade. Notice the long hair lately. It's true. And the beard.
You are due for a cut. Are you going to shave soon, or is that staying? I think you should
Shave
keep it.
Shave what?
The beard.
I don't know.
But Greg isn't pretending to be the woman on the show.
Right.
He's not wearing a bustier, but as I say this, I might pay to see that. That'd be kind of, I guess that would be the highest ratings ever if Greg Stocker would just wear a bustier.
People need to take a chill pill and realize that I just say things sometimes to make interesting radio.
Greg's a performer. Get over it.
He does it.
For God's sake.
He gets believe me, he does this. He does this to me daily.
Greg's a professional troll. That's what he's here for. All right, we got to get to our winner here. We've got Mary, who's been on the line since last Thursday from Huntington Valley. She's got the movie clip identified, and she's going to get the flyer tickets. Mary, what movie was that, and was that a difficult one for you?
Hi there, guys. No, not really. American Psycho.
Okay, yes.
Woo, Mary.
Correct.
There's something about me.
Yeah.
That came out in April of 2000. We just randomly grabbed that, and you have now secured yourself the Flyers tickets for the Star Wars theme this Saturday against the Vegas Golden Knights at the Wells Fargo Center. We thank you for playing, Mary.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a great day.
You are welcome, and we appreciate you listening. All right, we'll come back, quick break. We'll squeeze in a cut or two, and then we'll get to what Dawn has lined up and who won Twitter and YouTube today. And by the way, Macy's apparently ditched the Salvation Army for this agenda. So,
by the way, is Greg wrong? Yes, 67%. It's
Wow.
actually lower than I thought it would be.
I had the over/under at 92.5%. I was way off. Back after this. Stay right there.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
Hi, this is Don Giordano. Are you concerned about your child struggling in school? Do they need more of a challenge? Now's the time to make the call to Kathy Ganna and New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown. 800-300-0003. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope Academy founder Kathy Ganna, a pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. At New Hope Academy, there's a student-teacher ratio of 2-to-1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call for that no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today, 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy today, 800-300-0003.
Hey, Jimmy, I heard you have a tankless job today.
Yeah, Skip, I'm installing a Bradford White Infinity Series tankless water heater in Roxborough.
Bradford White? I use their tank water heaters all the time. They have tankless?
Absolutely. Their tankless water heaters are great, too. Virtually endless hot water. Easy to maintain and install, super reliable, and Energy Star rated.
Wow, Bradford White has tankless.
Yep, and like their tank water heaters, they're built to be the best. Check them out at bradfordwhite.com.
Have you heard all the talk about fresh pet food? Well, at Dogs and Cats Rule, when it comes to fresh, healthy ingredients, we lead the way. Hi, I'm George Parenti, and I'm here to tell you there's nothing better nutrition-wise than fresh food for your pet. Stop in to one of our 7 neighborhood locations and ask our expert staff how a real, fresh, meat-based diet can change your pet's overall health and well-being. Shop online at dogsandcatsrule.pet. Dogs and Cats Rule. Shop small, shop local, shop family.
Pluto TV is your place for holiday channels, including Lifetime and Hallmark, all for free. Download the Pluto TV app on all your favorite devices. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
We know you're excited because Eagles football is back. With the free Odyssey app, you can jump back and listen to the moments that matter, even if you missed it live. Hear Marks and Reese break down the offense, or listen to Nick Sirianni's interview with the 94 WIP Morning Show.
Yeah, I've been in a game where we scored a touchdown, and I'm fist pumping with the fans. I don't think I've done that since I played college football.
Stay close to the Eagles wherever you are this season. Download the free Odyssey app today. AUDACY. Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
.45 Tuesday morning here on Kayal and Company. The Dawn Show coming up in 15 minutes. We'll find out what she has on tap for today, as well as who on Twitter and YouTube. A lot of great comments coming in today on a variety of the issues that we've been kicking around this morning. We'll get to that. But it's time for what I believe could be a very brief edition on this show, because we had a lot of good content and conversation today. But let's try to squeeze some audio in as we get to What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2.
What's on the Cut Sheet?
Part 2. What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2, sponsored by Delaware Valley BMW Centers now through November 30th during the BMW Road Home Sale event. Lease an all-electric 2020 or 2024 BMW iDrive 50 for $799 per month for 36 months with $6,429 due at signing. Details at bmwcenters.com. Thank you, BMW Centers, for sponsoring What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2. New York Governor Kathy Hochul was talking yesterday. She held a press conference, said something very scary, said the quiet part out loud. She was addressing the increased violence that's happening in New York. We discuss this all the time. And she says that they're very focused, meaning the government of New York, very focused on the data that we're collecting from their surveillance efforts, meaning they're watching you.
Surveillance state.
Cut 3, guys, go.
Also, we're very focused on the data we're collecting from surveillance efforts, what's being said on social media platforms. And we have launched an effort to be able to counter some of the negativity and reach out to people when we see hate speech being spoken about on online platforms. Our media analysis, our social media analysis unit has ramped up its monitoring of sites to catch incitement to violence, direct threats to others. And all this is in response to our desire, our strong commitment to ensure that not only do New Yorkers be safe, but they also feel safe. Because personal security is about everything for them. As I said, no one walking down the street or in the subway should feel they have to hide any indications of what their religious beliefs are. We expect to see people celebrating their lives, walking about freely, and that is no longer the case because people are living in fear. They have a right to do whatever they want here in the state of New York.
So the Democrats love to say the quiet part out loud. That's the new mantra. Gavin Newsom said, yeah, we only cleaned the streets up because Xi was coming. And now Kathy Hochul, Democratic governor of New York, says the quiet part out loud. And this is what we talked about in the big take this morning with free speech and the government paying attention to what you are saying. But it's interesting. You have a crime issue in your city. So the natural solution is more police officers, enforcing the laws that are on the books, and prosecuting criminals to the fullest extent of the law. Yet her solution is the monitoring of speech on social media, but it's the selective monitoring that we will see play out in real time. Because as we know, the Democrats, they're not bothered by actions. They're more worried about words. All right, when we come back, we'll find out what's on tap for the Dawn Show today and who on Twitter and YouTube. And we're back after this on Kayal and Company.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Question for you. How many healthcare providers do you know who schedule downtime in their offices for teen training? Not many. But my good friend, dentist and board-certified prosthodontist Dr. Robert Bentz does that because he wants to ensure that he and his staff are well-versed in all the latest technology, so when he invests in new state-of-the-art equipment for his patients, he can rest assured that he and his staff can maximize the performance of the new technology. One of their latest investments is the Trios 5 scanner. Talk about amazing. The Trios 5 has an incredible design which reduces the potential for patients gagging or experiencing discomfort during the impression-taking process. Plus, the process is much faster, which saves Dr. Bentz and his patients precious time. The scans are done, the plan is made, and the on-site lab gets to work. Dr. Bentz and his staff are a well-oiled machine when it comes to your comprehensive dental care. They're always working to make that experience as comfortable and as seamless as it can be. Visit them at bentzdentalgroup.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Inflation slowed down last month more than economists were expecting. A 1-year-old kidnapped in Violin, New Jersey is back with his mother, but police say they're still looking for the teen that took him. And Danilo Cavalcante is facing additional charges for when he was on the loose in Chester County.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Paid actor portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
Is the IRS after you? Do you owe them more than you'll ever be able to pay? Are they levying your bank account, garnishing your paycheck? Are you staying up all night worrying they'll take everything you have? Are they bullying you into doing something you know is wrong? If so, you need somebody on your side that's not afraid to go toe-to-toe with them. Somebody that's not afraid to fight them. Somebody experienced in beating them at their own game and helping you. That person is Charles Montesino. He's a certified public accountant and certified tax resolution specialist. He's one of fewer than 200 in the entire country with both designations. He's known as the tax problem solver because he solves tax problems. The IRS is the biggest collection agency in the world. They don't always play fair. You need to even the playing field. Stop being bullied and get help from a professional that knows how to beat them. Call 609-970-4634. That's 609-970-4634. He's the taxpayer's advocate. He works for you. That's 609-970-4634.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Rescue Natural Supplements' unprecedented Black Friday sale is back again this year. The savings are bigger and better than ever. Right now, they're slashing prices on all supplements with discounts ranging from 50 to an incredible 80% off the total cost. Rescue has a wide array of products to address your health needs, including immunity, cholesterol support, heart health, and natural energy enhancers. It's 50% off omega-3s, probiotics, and so much more. And one more thing, this Rescue Black Friday sale will run the entire month of November. So shop today at res-q.com, res-q.com, or call a Rescue product consultant 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Again, all Rescue supplements are 50 to 80% off during the entire month of November. So why wait? Start shopping at res-q.com today or call 800-26-ALIVE.
You've heard me talk about how recently we had such a great experience of getting our son his first ever vehicle, teenager, new Honda Civic. His, cheeks, how they got all red, and he was just so excited and so grateful. And we were so grateful to my friends at Piazza Honda. The staff there is so accommodating. I mean, they just made our experience seamless and streamlined from start to finish. And most importantly, Piazza Honda found Michael the exact Civic model and color that he wanted. Truthfully, they went way beyond his wildest expectations. So I just highly recommend you visit your local Piazza Honda dealer in Philadelphia, Springfield, Langhorne, Pottstown, or Reading for your next Honda. And there is power in Piazza because they're across our region, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware. PiazzaHonda.com, Piazza, PiazzaHonda.com. I wouldn't trust anybody else. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Kayal and Company, as we wind things down Tuesday morning, the Dawn Show is 6 minutes out, and we find out what Dawn has lined up for 10 o'clock this morning.
Oh, we have so much coming up. A lot of Trump news this morning, local news with some local cases we'll get to. 10:05, Adam Gillette, who talks about, he's the accuracy in media president. So we'll talk to him, and this is one of my favorite topics, as you well know, one of our favorite topics. So the head of this nonprofit watchdog group. And this on the day where we've talked about thousands from our region, Philly supports Israel, heading to D.C., but talking about those anti-Semites who are trying to put, his life actually in danger following a media campaign to expose their identities. So we'll talk to him. And then coming up at 11:05, Christine Flowers is one of our regulars and certainly needs no introduction. So we'll talk about the media, talk about all things Philadelphia, recent elections, etc.
Okay, Dawn Show in 5 minutes as we wrap up a Tuesday show with Who on Twitter and YouTube today.
Who won Twitter?
Who on Twitter? I'm giving to Old Man Dudley. He says, wait until next year, the Macy's parade, when all the balloons will need to be anatomically correct. And I'm going to do
Who won
YouTube. I'm going to give it to Mike Carr. He says, Greg's upset because it's actually him leading the parade. Notice the long hair lately. So a lot of comments about the parade. He just needs to calm down.
All right.
Relax.
All right, that'll do it for...
Sharon says, gag Greg now.
Oh, gag Greg now. Say that 10 times fast.
I love that.
Nice work out of Sharon. Late entry. We like it. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Stay tuned. The Dawn Show is coming up next. We will see you tomorrow morning at 6, and we are out of here.
I'm done with this.
You want a killer Black Friday deal? I got one for you. Free Moto G 5G phone from Pure Talk. No gimmicks, no trade-in necessary. Just sign up for Pure Talk's unlimited talk, unlimited text, and 15 gig data plan for just $35 and get the Moto G 5G phone for free. But here's the deal. You need to move fast because these phones will be gone by the end of the month. So if your current phone is on life support, upgrade for free with Pure Talk. Enjoy 2-day battery life, an exceptional quad-pixel camera, and a whole lot more. Just dial pound 250 and say keyword SAVE now to speak with Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team. They make switching so easy and will make sure you get your new phone. Remember, Pure Talk